you lost unless you sold at those highs. So 80K, that sucks, man. But there's a lot of individuals in the same boat. Keep on pushing. This is what I said to 2NY yesterday, Sharif.
Yes, sir.
Fear. Face everything and rise.
Bang.
And that's it.
Absolutely.
Shut it off. Go over there. I'm just leaving it at that. It's 2 o'clock.
Oh, hold on. No, we got more.
We got one more.
Evan, okay, first of all, I'm going to read Evan's chat, but here the breakout is on now, guys, on CYPH. There goes 40. It's a 45 high. What do we have on? We have 24s on. We still have that 45 print that didn't print because it didn't cross. Watch out, though, for the topping tails. We've been preceded by 2 topping tail candles, despite the fact that this candle did break highs. Look at it manifest now, almost as an inverse hammer candle, despite the fact that it's still green. So CYPH is a bit of a bamboozler. It's got a good trend, but expect volatility on the way up. Separately, Evan Ballin. Oh, got to flatten out that. Evan Ballin. Love the show and you guys' energy. You two are very entertaining. I want to get into trading, but don't know where to start. Any tips or tools that I can use? Absolutely. Okay, so there's plenty of stuff we can do. First things first. We got to tell you, Assassino, we got to tell them about Trader TV Academy. It is coming up very, very soon, and we're super excited about it. It is exactly that sort of educational content that you're asking about, and it's all going to be made in-house here. It's not out yet. Stay tuned for that, though. Trader TV Academy coming very soon. Secondly, watch Joseph and I. We're constantly talking, and Katina, man, and Neil, of course, when Ob is on, no question about it. Watch them. They're constantly explaining what they're doing, why they're getting into trades, why they're getting out. They're explaining the methodology, and along the way, you'll learn a lot about trading as well. So we hope you can join us. Stick with us. We're focused for everybody. Newer traders, experienced, intermediate, everybody. We try to do the gauntlet.
I mean, like Neil and Sean have like a combined 60 years of experience almost over there, so which is a phenomenal.
That's saying
also, just like do as much reading, right? Like when you first start out, you want to read as much as you possibly can, and then also the beauty of YouTube University, starting right here at Trader TV Live. So read, and then study outside of that. All right.
Send them off, Joey.
See ya. All right, Charlie. Love you, brother. I love you too, man.
I hope everyone
has a fantastic weekend. I'm gonna probably have 2 bags of candy kittens this weekend, and I'm cutting it off at that. I promise.
They're vegan candy canes too.
The UK, yeah.
I'll see you guys.
It doesn't matter the day. I have 2 bags of candy kittens. That's nothing crazy.
Get him, Neil.
No, kittens.
Candy kittens. That's what I thought. I didn't hear candy canes. I heard candy kittens. Candy kittens. I don't know what those are. Those sound nice. I love.
No, okay. I heard candy canes. Yeah. Everybody.
And point number 2. Yeah, definitely. With Joe on the reading, you definitely have to, get all the reading in. But another type of reading you definitely should be getting in is that tape. Is that seat time?
Yeah, read that.
There's nothing better than that seat time. No, you just got to sit there and watch, bro.
First of all, why would anyone want these candy kittens? They don't even look
candy kittens. What are these?
I'm just looking it up.
You know what? I've actually seen those before.
Is this what we're talking about? Is this what you're talking about, Joe? He's not even paying attention. It doesn't even look. I don't even look that good. And I'll eat anything, everybody. But no, I'm just saying. Now let's get back into it for a quick little second here. Oh, these guys. Okay, it's fine. I won't eat everything. Now we're getting chirped from the left of us here, because now they're saying all the things that I won't eat. And you're right, Mike Peter Ryder. I tend to always be a little bit peckish.
That's why you always keep that Vegemite nearby.
You keep the Vegemite nearby.
I
got a banana at the desk.
I still have to eat mine.
I have my water. We got the Vegemite here. No one's eating the Vegemite except for Obi, because Obi's crazy like that. Oh, shout out and thank you very much to It's Matt, for 10 Trader TV Live gift membership. Shout out to you, Matt. Appreciate you for sure. It has been a wild and crazy day. BTC is breaking the lows, says Sebastian. I don't want it to. Look, I don't want it to, but we just broke 95, and I just shorted VWAP on ETHA, and I'm short Mara, so I'm not mad that that's happening. We don't want it to happen. It's happening. Anyways, I can't see any way that Bitcoin's breaking this low in this consolidation. Sharif was just talking about the logic. Well, I sat back down after a meeting, was in a couple of things only. I was already in MAR and Beyond Meat, but then saw this what's happening to Bitcoin. I'm like, you really? Like ETHA, whoops, I hit enter too fast. That's gonna sit here and not break down as well. So that's my, essentially right here. Like if we break out like 24, just above VWAP in here, then I'll jump out of that, but I'm looking for a little bit of a catch-up trade for Ethereum. Ryan O'Day says that Coinbase is straight back to being trash. Is it that bad? I mean, the market got, the Nasdaq got green, the ES got green, we're struggling to hold it. I don't know that you can call this trash. Is this trash? Bitcoin's at the lows and it's making a higher low and it's still green. But yes, it is. Some things are rolling over here, Obi, as we get into the afternoon. And Candy Kittens, I'm looking at these things and I'm like, why is that even a thing? They don't even look that good.
I mean, you know what? After I saw the packaging, I'm like, I've seen those before.
Have you looked?
Definitely, they're not too bad. They're not too bad.
I'm
I'm always I like my candies. I like sour patches. Sour patches are absolutely goated for sure. Thank you for the super chat, Hisney. CSIQ, why 1 month parabolic rise, even 1 year?
Canadian Solar.
Okay, all right. You know what's funny? That I actually recently got involved with. Remember, I said I took a swing position.
That's
It's not CSIQ. Definitely not CSIQ.
That's a nice looking chart. Why 1 month parabolic rise, even the 1 year? All right. Well, look at the month.
Okay, so
pretty spicy. Didn't they just report? I think they just reported. I feel like they reported. Oh, literally yesterday. They literally reported yesterday. So if you're wondering why it did that move, look, I didn't. What do we have? Okay, Q4 sales wasn't even that. It's not even that good on the guide. They missed on the top. They beat. Okay, they missed on. They beat on revenue. Sorry, and they missed on EPS. And then the guidance didn't even look that good when I'm reading it. So squeeze? I don't know. Maybe there's something else that got said during a call, or maybe dig a little deeper as to why it's breaking out. Because yesterday the earnings didn't look that good. That's just from a little cursory glance there for me there. Thank you for the super chat there, Hinsey. We appreciate you. And oh, I thought we had another one, but we don't. Yeah, it must be squeezed. Like it's just a guess. Like anytime I look at something parabolic like this and fundamentally it doesn't make sense, it's in a solar space, which is typically anywhere from like 15 to 25% short floats in a lot of those names. So I would maybe guess that. Arun is saying short MSTR. It's cooked. Ooh. Oh, this is not a. See, I don't know, man. Like I wasn't feeling that. I didn't feel that good and was wrong about a lot of it on the way up. I wasn't feeling that good about the bounce and what in the market, crypto in general, what it meant this morning and what it might mean this weekend and for Monday. Because a lot of things have bounced and held. Exhibit 1, like the Nasdaq, right? Like that's a V-shaped recovery to the morning lows. And then see how you're holding, at least for now, knock on wood, like you're holding above this consolidative area for the Nasdaq. Like that's potentially still holding bullish if we can do that. But then you have what's going on with Bitcoin and MSTR and probably BMNR just absolutely getting smoked and already at the low. So yeah, you're getting a bit of a juxtaposition here. I do favor the crypto names short this afternoon, but it doesn't look like ETH wants to do much but go sideways.
Yeah, ETH and crypto, they're kind of they're pulling back, and I think that we always find that ETH always has that like lagging response to Bitcoin, especially on the way up, but sometimes a lot of the time in step on the way down. Funnily enough, but that CSIQ chart, man, that thing looks absolutely solid. Even on the daily, look at the spike in volume, the increase in volume since about the end of October here as well, breaking that 35. So yeah, aggressive volume, increasing volume as well, breaking a multi-year downtrend on this name. Yeah, Canadian solar stock for sure. But regardless, the price action is kind of is showing immense strength. I think nobody can really deny that as well. And yeah, today, just on today's day's price action, that's a lot of days. Today's intraday price action. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Today's intraday price action. You can see we've wiped 4 days worth of action and very aggressively strong going into the end of the week. So yeah, good strength on this name. I have no idea what's going on, to be honest, but I think the price action and the volume kind of speak for themselves here on CSIQ. Something else I've been watching here is BABA. They had some news over the midday session. I was out on a walk, but a bit of a continuation to the downside, and I heard the news later on, but just looking at this, look at this beautiful retest of VWAP here, lower highs, lower lows on BABA, currently making a low at 152.23, so definitely have eyes on this one. Increased volume initially, but you can see the volume dissipating as we kind of tread along time. Let's see how long this was, about 2 hours? Roughly about 1 hour and 6 minutes. So yeah, BABA definitely on watch.
Oh, no questions asked. Once we are ready, we'll get into the rundown, the names that, well, I think we might be ready, the names that you guys are interested in watching. The next opportunity for me, though, before we get there, because I don't want, just in case we're on Sharif, like I'm tracking a trend down in Apple and looking for a potential trend break. And that would be like a break back to the upside on the 3-minute chart. So, I mean, Apple's been, a lot of things bounce back. Apple with a decent amount of strength as well, but looking for that to break the trend. Let's see what it is that everybody was typing into the chat and wants us to go over in the rundown.
Welcome to the Afternoon Rundown, everyone, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. OB in for Sean today, but the big boys, they're locked, they're loaded, and they're ready to look at the tickers as cited by you. But the only way to get those tickers right there is to get into the chat and vote for your favorite tickers every day, but you gotta precede it by that $sign, throwing that $sign followed by whatever ticker your heart so desires. Let's look at all 4 major averages, and we are at a markedly different look than where we were at to start the morning when I was sitting right here. The NQ now positive on the day, believe it or not, up 0.1%. Followed by the ES marginally positive, up 0.1. The Dow, though, after making all-time highs a couple of days ago, the only negative major average on the day, down 0.5%. And the Russell 2000 now below 2,400. We were talking about that 2,500 point area not long ago, but still up 0.33% on the day. Good recovery from the lows this morning for all 4 major averages. Tesla, the first ticker as decided by you, but the blood was in the street today for the Cybertruck maker as this one dipped below 400 all the way down into 380, barely holding on, but it's recovered since. It's back above 400, selling off because of this battery issue that they had with their 2nd generation battery packs causing fire, smoke, and possible death. So they had to basically issue a warning there. That is not, though, for, the case for their newer Model 3. Not the Model 3, the car, but the version 3 of the battery pack, guys. So Tesla recovering a little bit here, up 1.4.
Yeah, good recovery for Tesla, but I feel like the same way, what I was saying this morning, as let me just quickly show you guys, because I want to keep you guys apprised of the positions. I might only be in 2 of these 3, because we're very close to, I don't like putting a stop exactly at VWAP, but I'm adjacent to VWAP here, just above on ETHA. It doesn't look like it wants to follow Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's back up 95,000. That's another big point. But Tesla, as much as this is a good-looking rebound, and on a 15-minute chart, and on the intraday chart, it looks great, you've got to remember how big of a deal it is to break a channel like this, like that 420 to 460 level. Like, look at what happened when we sat here for a while in the mid-300s. When you finally broke away from this, it was just parabolic for a couple of days. And then you finally settled down. This bounce, without closing, at least back above like 412, 413, like the upper end of this range. Like if we don't end up holding something in here, then it's just not as bullish as I want to give it credit for, as opposed to like, I just need to see what happens on Monday. If we don't start recovering those prices by Monday, I think I'd be at least a little bit concerned. With Tesla, that we just had a bit of a relief rally and the shorts can regain control. 420 still big resistance, and we're underneath the major moving averages. Like that kind of a thing I think is a problem. From the trading aspect this afternoon, I was pretty convinced that this was going to be, there's your breakdown, there's a consolidation, going to short this into the volume weighted average price. Just as it was starting to work and give you a couple bucks, it broke back out. So while I might not be as super bullish on it when looking at the daily chart or the 15-minute, I'll admit that this afternoon, I don't know that it's one I want to be short. Well, like Probably not going to try to fight this one because when it looked like it was breaking down and the structure was good, the buyers came back in, but they can't seem to break the hump of the more important level that I think we got to close back above. On that daily chart, still looks like we're giving it up a little bit. So I'm not ringing the all clear for this stock whatsoever.
Yeah, I think this consolidation that you've pointed out definitely standing out here, and important for me because end of day consolidation from yesterday. After a strong day of selling, we go sideways for about 3 hours, and the high of that consolidation is what we're holding up on right now. The current consolidation that's been happening for about 2 hours and 20 minutes. I was involved with this right off of the open. Tesla was very, very choppy. I was a little short biased off of the open. Chop didn't really come in. Chop didn't really come in. Higher highs and higher lows, and we've been stepping up since then. So back through 400. I did talk about that 400 level being a little bit interesting, both yesterday, overnight session, and I guess now as well in the intraday session as we kind of chopped along that 400. Didn't really spend too much time there, but now stepping up above. So very interesting close to the week. Let's see if we can sustain any of these levels. 405s is the low of that consolidation that we're holding right now on Tesla. That's what I'm watching.
REI today, guys. No news catalyst on this today, but did report earnings after the bell on Monday, and it rocketed up at that time. It was trading at about 571 on that day, but all was said and done in the pre-market. The next day, we're up above $7. They did report revenue of $33.14 million, surpassing expectations, but decreasing year over year on the quarter, guys. The stock, allow me a second here, is up year to date to the tune of, oh, can't find it here. 1 second, BBAI. It is up. No, I don't have it. I'm sorry. Anticlimactic.
It's up $1 million. No, it's not. No, it's not, absolutely not. But if you look, the funny thing about that one from the beginning of the year is that it's like almost perfect timing, because at the beginning of the year it was like right in here, like about 430. So you are still up. I'll ballpark that at 40%. Let's just say 38.75%, and then someone can fact check me. And if I happen to be really close, then I'll be like, wow, Neil's amazing. No idea. But what I don't like about this, here's what you don't want. On a day where the market had a bounce like this, and where a lot of the names that have been really beaten up the last couple of days got great and fantastic bounces, you don't want your chart to resemble Beyond Meat's chart today, which BBAI's does, where you had that big rally in the morning with the relief of everything else, and then when it rolled over, it's just been steady Eddie to the downside ever since. That is not that good, because what it means is the buyers, while it was able to recover, the buyers lost control quick when the market didn't. And the market stayed in control with the buyers. They lost it quick, and they have been losing the battle ever since. It's really just sort of hanging on to yesterday's lows at this point, above $6. So I would say with this one in particular, it lost the 50 period, a retest of the 200 period, which will be way too fast, could be in play here. And I would run away from this for a bit if it lost the 200 period moving average, and then wait back for some kind of a real test down to 253. That's the thing about stocks like this, is, you know, when you get these parabolic moves up and then it comes out of favor, sometimes the wait can be long for the next big move up. And if we lose that 200 period moving average, I think that's a distinct possibility. Like, you don't want to, it's not something you dollar cost average, well, I wouldn't anyways, if it loses that moving average. So I think we're at least heading to test it next week. For now, if I wasn't short Beyond Meat, I'd consider shorting this into any pops. But Beyond Meat did a similar move. We're talking about this morning. It wouldn't get to 150, so I looked for a 125, missed that, shorted VWAP, lost. Then it put in this higher low. The second I saw this, 1, 2, there's that top. I'm like, okay, just fill me in the offer. I just sat on the offer. That's the trend line. I shorted 115 with my stop literally 1 cent above, because that was the trend line. And it just, look at it hold the trend. I might, if I get a chance, I might just sit here at 10s and grab a fill, and then I can move my trailing stop from break even to on the trend line, or, well, it'd be not break even, it'd be a little bit higher. I think it's at 13 now. I just moved my stop to like 11 and then reload this at 10s. But right now you can't get 10s. I don't like that chart at all on BBAI. And that's another one that I think is not out of the woods in this market bounce.
Yeah, I think just looking at it, what's interesting to me, Neil, is that reversion that came in off of the open here. So yeah, strong push right off of the open, but in the opening session right here, before the first half hour is even done, the bid just collapses, 650s, failure to follow through that high there. And then it comes in aggressively. It comes in maybe a little too fast, I would say, because you can see the nice slow grind there, but when we step down, it's just a straight line down. So you know the saying, they say you take the escalator up and the elevator down. This is very much that here on Big Bear AI, back to the downside. So sellers from the prior 2 days, we saw a similar kind of action on Wednesday where you had that strong bid, grinding, selling for the rest of the day, but selling nonetheless. And then yesterday as well, sellers very, very dominant. Buyers, again, attempt a bit of a bid off of the open, and sellers met with sellers, aggressive sellers, to say the least, there on Big Bear AI through that 650. So that's the stuff on Big Bear AI right now. Doesn't really look like much because sideways consolidation for the past couple of hours.
Guys, Meta, no news today on Meta, but we saw it lose $600 momentarily all the way down to $595. There is this headline, Tiger Global Management making some moves in their holdings. They dissolved their entire position in Eli Lilly as well as CrowdStrike, and they cut their position in Meta by 62.6% down now to only 2.8 million shares. So Meta getting some institutional sell-offs.
Institutional sell-offs, but there was also a bit of a double bottom at 600. I say a bit of a double bottom because it did lose 600 today and then regained it like a lot of things did, but another bottoming tail candle. This time it's still lower. Look, you're still lower lows here. You're still lower highs, lower lows on this daily chart since we flushed, but you do regain 600, will close back above it. Starting to look a little bit better for the rounded bottom, but as much as I say that, you guys can kind of see this, it's still trending down. I'm not gonna leave these in here, but you get the idea. You're still making slightly lower lows and you're definitely making lower highs as well. But you get a little rounded bottom with the potential that if we break out on Monday above 680, 618, which is an outside chance today, to be honest with you. If you break that out, then you get like this little rounded bottom the last 3 days, somewhat of a move into 630, and then the real good stuff I think happens above 640 where it gets bullish again. But for now, remember what's going on with Meta to a certain extent where, you know, I think everybody, if you look at it, I mean, everything pulled back the last couple of days, but specifically Meta was already weak compared to the other hyperscalers and Mag 7 because their big time spend is not necessarily seen in the same light as in terms of generating growth in the future with the rest of the AI names. So there's more benefit seen in Google's approach maybe than Meta at this point. Still like it from a valuation standpoint. Like the second it got into that mid-20s, like, okay, that's a DCA. And then if it gets into the low 20s, that's for sure. The PE gets down there, I'd buy some more of it again. But you know, you take some time with it. Clearly, this one is built differently from the others. I only have to show you what an Apple chart looks like or Google chart looks like, and I think we all get it. But that's been true many times. Google looked weak relative to the others, and when it was the best valuation, it got snatched up big time. I think that's what's happening for Meta in the short run.
Yeah, I like this look here on Meta, and right away I'm seeing a little bit more of the same, Neil. A lot of selling here off of earnings, and we've been getting that continuation. Last Friday, though, we caught a bit of a bid. Not only was it Meta, it was alongside the rest of the market as well, but a bid nonetheless. We're seeing more of the same here, a bid coming in all day today off of the same level. Sure, it's not the same magnitude as that of last Friday, but still coming in and around that same level. But I do want to point your attention to maybe a little bit of a higher time frame here. So I just want to go up to the monthly because I'm looking at Meta a little bit on the higher time frame side as well. Look at where we've come from. I was looking at this, Neil, in about 2024, 23 here, where it was coming back up into this 400 level. This was a textbook reversion here, 100% reversion, and we've only accelerated since then. And since that acceleration, you can see this range is also expanding as well. So well within range, even though we've been getting aggressive selling for the past couple of weeks here on Meta. So bigger picture, still very well within trend, but shorter term, I think, yeah, bit of a pullback.
OpenDoor is up 67.5% since the Friday lows, guys, and there's a reason for this. So Bill Poult, who is the director of U.S. Housing, says they're actually looking to investigate these portable mortgages and change the rules. So portable mortgages allow you to basically to take the existing mortgage that you have now at the lower rate and with the favorable terms and transfer them over to an existing or to a new property that you want to purchase. Currently, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac prohibit the use of these portable mortgages, which is why Bill Pulte, the White House director of U.S. Housing, says that he's looking at investigating that, and we've seen a marked drop in Freddie Mae and Freddie Mac, and at the same time, we've seen a move up here in OpenDoor. So something to keep an eye out for on that, but no specific headline with respect to OpenDoor today.
Oh, they have filed recently. We were just talking about filings. They did a filing, literally a week ago today.
Yeah, like a week ago, right?
Yeah, a week ago
it's
today.
Just like, it was absorbed, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, they filed an offering a week ago today for 180 million shares. The other story since that was also that Kaz said he was going to buy 1 million. That's the CEO. But what's happening now, which actually was mentioned in the chat, it's weird because there was an exact comment in the chat: open long now, stop to 8, and you've been watching the show long enough, on the 15-minute, that is a break. It's a trend break on the 15-minute, with the prior bar low being $8. Like, that's a pretty normal technical setup. The only thing about trend breaks on the 15-minute is the later it gets in the day, the less I like them, because it's a higher time frame trend break. That as a day trader, you have less time for it to work. So there's really only, to me, it's like there's an hour until we get to close to imbalances. So I'm only going to get, you get 3 candles for that to really work out for you, which is not the same as if it breaks a trend on the 15 at 11 o'clock or something. You got all day. You got the rest of the day for it to work. So it's I don't know how I grade that. I'd probably grade that like a B setup, because I need it to be doing better volume and going right away. But that's not bad. I'm actually thinking about whether I want that myself. On the higher time frame structure here, it's still you made the top and you're putting in lower highs. So yes, we had that parabolic move up, and yes, we're going to close above the 50-period moving average. That $8 is absolutely critical. But keep in mind, this is a name where the bottom can fall out very quickly. It's one thing to say, and I've probably only gone long this week, and since that bottom, I don't think I've taken a short in OpenDoor. As a day trade, it's much different saying, oh, you'll take that take that trend break or grab the trend long a couple of days when it's going ham. Very different between that and holding it for a swing when, essentially at any moment you get rugged. I'm not a big fan of that with OpenDoor. And, I'd love to have Mr. Eric Jackson on here at some point to convince me otherwise.
Yeah, that would be absolutely awesome. OpenDoor, not really much for me today because it's within the range that it's been kind of traveling in for the past few days here. So nothing too crazy, just traveling in that range for me. This is kind of no man's land, but bigger picture, yeah, it might be building up into a little bit of something. I'm looking at it here on the multi-hour. This is a 3-hour chart. Yeah, break of trend here on a higher time frame as well. That's the break right there. And we did pull back and hold pretty well as well. And I have a bit of an anchored from earnings as well. So we did dip down into that in the pre-market today. So holding up pretty well, pretty decently. Bigger picture, guys. I was just showing this to Neil on, again, going higher time frame on the monthly chart. Take a look at this. Does this look like this is over? I think there is definitely a little bit of a story that might be concocting here, but who knows? I'm watching this range. That's all it is. I think the range is important here. The range is from about $5.25, and the highs are about $10.85, $10.87 specifically. So OpenDoor, still a story unfolding, I think.
A couple of super chats before we go back and discuss NVIDIA. Mike P. DeRider, our good friend. Apparently I'm supposed to say it, Mike P. DeRider. That's how Sharif says it. So that's how we'll go with. We should all feel so lucky to have Trader TV. Well, I'll tell you right now, we're lucky to have you. See, let's be real for a second. Because if the show wasn't beyond, if we didn't have the show wasn't on, be sitting at a desk, much like this one, trading by myself, well, not by myself, but like with other traders like we always have, kind of just talking to each other. That's it. But now we have you guys, and we have this big show, and we get all this like quality discussion, quality ideas, and then you guys are always really kind to us as well. So we have a really cool community, which is amazing. Like I'll tell you, just to give one more thing, we'll get to NVIDIA. Like you guys have no idea when the World Series was on, and we got on TV. Myself, my daughter made a sign, and we were on TV for a little bit. And all of I had all friends and family like messaging, oh, we saw you guys on TV. And then my daughter's like, that's pretty cool. And then I told her that, oh, look at this. Someone from the show posted on X, like our picture, and that you were on TV with your sign. That was like a whole different world for my daughter. Like it went from, when you told her like, oh yeah, Grampy said you guys were on TV, she's like, well, that's nice. She's like, one of the viewers posted and saw me on TV, and like that was the coolest thing in the world to her. Not that her own family saw, but anyways. And that's because you guys are awesome. So anyways, let's talk about some NVIDIA before I ramble for way too long. What is he watching?
Oh, sorry, guys. That's you, bro. Okay. I was watching Donald. One of the great videos that Ramin just dropped on the Trader TV Instagram account. Make sure to check that out. There he is. All right. Shout out to President Trump. All right. NVIDIA, guys, down 10.5% from their all-time highs, trading below 190 today. Bank of America Securities maintaining NVIDIA with a buy and maintaining the same price target, 275, guys. Separately, of course, NVIDIA's been selling off aggressively after the accounting practices with respect to the usefulness of these GPUs and their longevity.
Okay, so first of all, where's Ramin? Wherever Ramin is, she can't hear me because she's too far away now. That moment needs to be clipped. Because that was like one of the, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but that was like the funniest ish of all time. But I would love to know, I got to see what he was watching, and maybe we'll try to figure that out a little bit. But NVIDIA was the poster child, is the poster child for this AI market. And if you want to look at what's distinctly different, you know, we're talking about crypto, Bitcoin wasn't really holding up, and not everything that rallied this morning was doing well. Well, sometimes it's how you end, not how you start. NVIDIA for now is looking incredibly strong, up 1.8, but it's done the gap fill. It's done the hold of the 50-period moving average. It has yet to really break the downtrend on the daily chart. I don't have to really show that to you, but this is almost bull flaggish. And the other thing you have going for NVIDIA is, ooh, looky. Exactly at the open where we dropped at 191, this is where we dropped off. This is where support was. So if we break 191 this afternoon, I'm going long. Like that's a breakout. Maybe it's only a scalp trade, and maybe it's a fail break, but that's too big of a level. Ideally, you consolidate here and break it on Monday where there's more time for it to work, but it looks great, and I'm all for it. Apparently it just got pinned to the chat. Where did that just open up? I have to find, oh, this is what it was. This is what Sharif was, oh, where did it go? Trying to drag it over. This is what Sharif was watching. You guys don't have the sound. This is what, but you guys can't hear it, unfortunately. Too much winning. All right, that's enough. You guys, it's pinned in the chat. You guys can all look at it. So if you're in the chat, you can just right here, and that's what Sharif got caught watching while he was supposed to be doing the rundown for us, which is fine. Sharif, man, like this is live. Like we're not network where, oh no, you went away from the script. Oh no, you were caught saying something candid. Yeah, whatever. I literally eat in front of you guys all the time. Like if you did that on like CNBC, they'd probably fire you. I don't know if I could do that.
I think
I gotta eat.
Okay, so when it comes to NVIDIA today, I think interesting that $80 level was interesting. Just prior lows, this was what I was watching because coming into the pre-market, even in the after hours. I mean, last night the action that happened, Neil, in Blue Ocean last night, it was very capitulatory, and I was just like, the market definitely fell a lot more than I expected.
That's a big
You saw the extended move that I showed you on Tesla.
Yes.
I shorted the initial part of it, and I was just like, I definitely left a lot on the table and missed the bigger part of the leg. And coming into today, we've only seen a bid. So I'm really asking the question, Neil, is like, are we really moving on to that? Like, we're talking about, okay, 24-hour markets, everything is kind of blending in with each other. When the after hours has such a strong move, almost a capitulatory move, and then we only start bidding off of the open, I'm really starting to kind of, put these markets together and be like, okay, this is very, very interesting, some of the nuances that you can pick up when you're watching both the after hours, the overnight, and then now the pre-market and the open session as well. Absolute strength on NVIDIA going into the end of the week. And we saw a little bit of the same last week as well. Buyers came in and around this same area. So strong confluence. Buyers are showing themselves over a higher time frame at the end of the week as being interested above this 180 area. So I think bigger picture could be very interesting, but higher time frame, you can see that, yes, this is more of the same. This aggressive bid that we got all the way up to 212s here started off in this same area, the same kind of buyers. So the question is, do we make lower highs into this area, this 180? I'm going to be watching. If it comes back to 180 anytime during next week as well, I'm definitely putting up an alert on NVIDIA for that because buyers have been showing themselves very obviously.
Ooh, you said very obviously, which was not a school word. I feel like that's beneath you, Obi.
Sorry.
You got to level up. Because we're literally in the chat, we're having a discussion about how nobody uses more school words than Obi on the show, and believe me, it's 100% on purpose.
Sometimes I like to mix it up,
I know you like to mix it up. And we like to mix it up every now and then by giving you important information like this. Each year, 3.8 million concussions are reported in the US, yet there is still no FDA-approved treatment. NYSE-listed Origenics, OGEN, is changing that with its first-in-class intranasal drug designed for rapid brain access. With the concussion treatment market projected to reach $8.9 billion by 2027, Origenics is uniquely positioned to lead the way. Learn more and schedule a meeting today. Scan the QR code you see out in front of you. And Baba's breaking down again. That's not good news. This headline is not good news for Alibaba. Just the sheer sentiment of it, the accusation, having the administration once again pointing aim at individually listed companies. Look, I'm not just saying this because I still own Alibaba shares. I do. But you get that sentiment break, and then you're breaking this support level, which is the big one. 150 is kind of a big deal too. But you're breaking this support level in the 155 to 160 range. And it just seems like you could have a gap fill. And all you need is the wrong story in this particular case to make it happen. So yeah, it gets a little frustrating because obviously the thing about Baba is like you have the whole, this is the business, there's a lot of potential growth there. And then you had the chart, which was really good. But in the back of your mind, it gets this discount because at any moment you can have, and once the US government's against them, then some institutional money is not going to want to be in there. And then you get these rug pulls, which seems fine when you look at it on this time frame, but if I were to zoom it out a little bit further, maybe I need to go to I'll just go to a monthly chart. When you zoom it out a little bit further for Alibaba, you begin to realize, yikes, that's way too far, that this move up has been good, but we didn't get that far. Like we're actually pulling into, I thought we'd get to the 200 level at some point, but like you're not really breaking away from the lower highs that got put on that downturn, which was a huge rejection of the 200 level before. Like you're kind of pulling back in the same range. Like this could easily be back at 120. And that wouldn't even be crazy. You'd still be on uptrend if we got back to 120 bucks. I'm really hoping this isn't the start of something like that. We'll let next week decide for sure. And Daniel B's like, this is why you shouldn't invest in Chinese ADRs. I don't necessarily disagree with you. And I absolutely am considering whether I should just ring the register. It was hard to ignore Alibaba when it was doing this. It's between 70 and 80. Like something gets beat down this much and had really solid valuation compared to anything remotely in its space and gives you this long consolidation and starts breaking away from it. Like when it took the 200 period on a monthly chart, how do you not like that long? It gets hard not to like that. Then it gave you a reload off there as well. But it might be time to consider an exit plan for it. just to be real with you, I haven't sold the last third of it yet. I'm seriously considering whether I'm going to want to, but I kind of don't want to. That's the problem. I don't want to. I think it has, I was pretty convinced it had at least 200 on it, and then a break of that would get you more. But it could be, I could just be wrong about that. Entirely possible. I got to move this back to a daily chart because I don't want that to save, and then I forget about it on Monday. So I did get into that open door. Like I said, I think it's more of a B setup than anything else on that 15-minute with a stop under 8. It's a bit of a wide stop, which I don't love. So I'm going to go with a tighter stop and play it off the 3-minute here. Even if that isn't the setup on the 15, it's just a way to say this is not an A+ setup. So I'm only giving it just underneath that 820. Which is much, much different from, if it was a little bit earlier in the session, it had this same trend break, the stop would be under $8, and I'd hold it for much longer and for much more. But it's 2:40 in the afternoon, and it's also a Friday, so that means I tend to want to keep things a little tighter to the vest on a Friday afternoon, anticipating that you don't get crazy action.
Yeah, I think that's very fair here. I'm looking at BABA as well because this is the thing that's moving the most. I think here in the market going into the end of the day, and consolidating and holding this level right here and building lower highs into it. This is starting to look a little bit like a flat bottom break, if I do say so. And 5220s is that low here. So currently trading at 5270s, this prior structure of 5370s, and that prior high at 55 halves as well. So, and then this ultimate high, the first pullback that we had, the only bid that did come in and gave us a bit of a range was only able to get up to 158 here on BABA. So those are the levels that I'm watching here. Let's see if we can get that continuation, that news. Kind of interesting. The price action very telling. What's up, Adara?
Fed commentary on Watch. Fed's Logan saying here that she supported the September rate cut, but she would have preferred to hold rate steady in October. Now, this now makes her at least the third Fed member off the top of my head to say that they would have actually considered voting for a hold in October rather than a cut. The other two members were Fed's Hammock and Fed's Bostic. That was a while ago. Now, we actually know that there is one individual on the Fed, of course, Fed Schmidt, who actually voted to hold. So with him plus these three Fed members who were saying they would have maybe liked to hold, that's now 4 Fed members that were a little bit more hawkish than the overall group. That's a third of the group. So interesting look here for the Fed. We do get some more hawkish comments coming in. Logan also saying here that the labor market is cooling, but is roughly balanced. Almost exactly what Fed Schmidt said this morning, guys. Back to you.
There you go. And we're down to 46% chance. That is not good. It doesn't look that good. We're up as high as, I think we're up as high as 90%, and then we're still above 50% as of yesterday, and now down to 46 for that December cut, which, you know, seeming a little bit less likely. And the fact that it's still being marked at this 50%, I feel like if we don't get it, we're going to be in a little bit of trouble. With that being said, the market right now is continuing to bounce higher. I know you mentioned Alibaba. That's certainly a mover. NVIDIA is still tracking toward that 191 break. Here's what it looks like on a 3-minute. This might be worth some inventory going into the break as opposed to taking the break. Just sort of seeing the tapes really start to pick up. You see how it's like gradually going and the tape's like picking up? So this is, I stole this term from Obi, by the way. So I don't want to sound like I'm all smart when I say get inventory going into it. Like, I don't even know what we used to call it when you'd go long into a break. Like, I'm getting long before it gets to the top. And now you have this term, which is like get inventory into the break. I'm like, it sounds so much better.
I like to think a little bit more like, you know, like you're wholesaling product. You're buying and selling things.
You're
right?
wholesaling
so it's like,
product.
So you like on your blotter, you have like, that's your inventory. What are you holding? You're holding some things negative. You're holding some things positive, long and short. And then you want to, essentially, you're moving that inventory in a sense. You're doing business, right? So that's why I think that's where that comes from. But yeah.
Oh, in the chat, I didn't say the tape is going up. I meant the tape is picking up. So here's the best way to explain it. See how, okay, there's your nice parabolic move. There's your pullback. It's kind of like a little consolidation over that top. And then you're kind of breaking out, but it's just slowly going. Like each candle is expanding after it contracts. Each candle starts to expand. I also see like the time in sales. Where's my, not even on NVIDIA here. I also see the time in sales start to pick up, which is a tape picking up going into it. So it's just having some acceleration going into the high. Like the actual high is 190.70. So what I simply see is like, okay, well, if it's still expanding, then I'll hit the bar I'll hit the prior bar high as it goes. And what I like for a stop in this case is I'm trying to work into the long going into 191. It's just give it to here, right? Like where was the prior resistance, which was about 189.80. And then when it broke away, there's your contention bar, and then it's 189.80 there. So I can be long into 189.80, and I can kind of start it anywhere in this range. But what I want to see happen is continuing green. If I see a red bar, I'm not adding to it until it gets down closer to support. But if it continues to these green bars, it's like build and just get more and get more. And then if it goes into the high break, you're already long by the time it breaks the high. And you don't have to do anything. You can just sort of decide whether you want to add or not. So that's the plan of action there. And so eclectic passions, no, the volume doesn't necessarily have to be higher. It's the afternoon. So I don't necessarily need to see the volume increasing. If it was like a small cap stock, I'd probably really want to see the volume increasing. But I want to see like the tape getting faster, meaning that this slow move is getting a little bit more rapid. We're getting wider candles, a little more volatility. The volume can be the same, but we're just covering more ground with that volume, and that's enough for me. Should I miss that? There's a small capper that's moving. I'll have to try to hear that in my ear again. But nothing really crazy going off on my scanners anyways. But there you go, again, like it just popped up. I can try to maybe get something on a little bit of a dip into the bottom of that candle again, and then we'll try to add at about the same price, and looks like we are headed toward that breakout, potentially.
Yeah, I like that idea as well, Neil. I got involved with Microsoft here. So yeah, interesting. NVIDIA is pushing for its highs as well. So is Softy. I'm looking at Tesla. I asked you guys what the next trade was. What are you guys looking at? I got QBTS. I got Tesla, and I think there was one more as well. That was Ozan talking about simple trade 410 break in Tesla will take us to 415. That's what the Gamma says, so I will wait for it to trade and get my 5 USD and be over with it. Nice. Good luck with that. We'll take a look at that 410 break in Tesla. Netflix, that's what the last one was. Roger Newman saying accumulated Netflix all day. Nice. And Barstool Bagel saying QBTS. All right, let's take a look at those three names here. Yeah. So that 410, yeah, I like that. That consolidation, if we can really push this consolidation with any sort of distinct volume and price action, yeah, we definitely have that high of day well within range, and we can travel a little bit higher, maybe up into this consolidation from yesterday. That's what we knocked on the door of with this aggressive bid in the morning. Look at that. Coming right into the only place, or the first place, that we caught a significant bid yesterday after the waterfall off of the open. So yeah, a little bit of a distinct area, and it comes in once again today, showing us that, yeah, it might be a little bit of an interesting area for sure. So yeah, I like it when certain levels test both as resistance and support, kind of giving us that confluence for that level confirmation. So yeah, Tesla consolidation, I like it if the consolidation pushes higher with distinction. The continuation, definitely, I think the probability does go a little bit higher there. So QBTS, let's take a look at that one. That was the next one here. D-Wave Quantum. So Quantum's been very, very strong, and I mentioned this earlier as well to my pod. I was like, look at Quantum. Quantum's holding the bid very well, and it held VWAP very well in the morning session. So I was watching some of the tape on IONQ and Rigetti and a couple of other names as well. VWAP's held pretty well, so I was like, look out for VWAP. And guess what? More of the same here on QBTS. We'll get to Netflix right after we get back from Adair.
Right now, we're going to discuss Meta, guys, META, because we do have some news on this one. Business Insider reporting that the company is going to start grading its staff on their AI impact starting next year. So we know that Meta has really been making this push towards AI. Looks like the next frontier of that push is actually ranking their staff or grading their staff based on their usage of AI or the way that they impact AI. Again, if I get more details as to what this may entail, I will certainly keep you posted. But for now, here is the headline. We also still have comments coming from Fed's Logan. One of the more interesting things that she said, which didn't seem to move the market much, but I do think is of note, is that right now she would not support a December rate cut. So she's probably been the most flatline Fed that we've actually seen with regards to the December rate cut, saying that she, right now anyway, would, to quote her actually, she said it'd be hard to support another rate cut. So looks like, again, this hawkishness does continue from the Fed. Now, before we send you back to Obi and Neil, we'll take a moment to thank our friends at Beta Pro by Global X Canada, because we've got some great news here out of Canada for the sophisticated traders who are on our stream. Beta Pro by Global X Canada, which happens to be Canada's largest provider of leveraged inverse and inverse leveraged ETFs. They've just launched 6 new triple leveraged ETFs, okay? Offering 3 times bull and 3 times bear exposure to the S&P TSX 60, semiconductors, and on US Treasuries. But guys, even better, they're offering a special fee rebate, dropping management fees to just 65 basis points until December 31st, 2025. Plus, the US-focused strategies use currency hedging, which offers the potential for pure performance and exposure. So if you are a tactical, sophisticated trader who's looking to amplify your performance, check out betapro.ca/3x daily to learn more. Back to you.
Thank you very much. All right, so one more.
Thank you very much, Dara.
Go, nice. So Netflix, the last one I'm going to cover here, yeah, aggressive selling off of the open alongside with the rest of the pre-market session, but Netflix was distinctly different. It sold off even more in the open session. Right off of the open, look at that aggressive selling. VWAP retest, nope. Sellers step right back in. VWAP retest, even at 1040, sellers step right back in. So distinctly different from the rest of the market is Netflix on the day today. So yeah, good call on that one. I'm watching it, and I think was it in the chat? They said they were accumulating it all day. So buying it up here just above that 1,000 level. Yeah, I think for the long term, if you're looking for days that are sold off and you're looking to buy the dips, yeah, today was definitely a little bit of a dip and double bottom there at around 1,100 on Netflix. So good looks there. A lot of this stuff, man, definitely in play. I talked about, yeah, Mag 7's doing over 2 times RVOL in the pre-market is significant. Netflix was definitely one of those there. It's not part of the Mag 7, but you know what I mean, top constituents, it's definitely within the top 15 for sure. And you can see that relative volume has sustained pretty well. It's not 2 times for the rest of the day, but about 1.5 times relative volume. Now, this is a 5-period relative volume, so it just measures what the past 5 days have done. And you can see here, the past few days, we've only been catching a little bit of a bid, roughly a 50% retracement on the day today of that bid from the beginning of the month. Yeah, around the beginning of the month, we were sideways there as well. So yeah, that's the look there on Netflix. What do you got going on?
Well, let's just say NVIDIA did a little bit of a shakeup. They changed, like the tape changed a little bit. So it was like that, you see the acceleration, takes them out, and then they kind of, the same thing that got me in was actually getting me out of it, then immediately reversed. I tried to jump back in to try to get that breakout trade. And as you can see, NVIDIA is continuing to go. Hopefully some people are still in it. I'm certainly not. The other thing that's happening is OpenDoor. I want to leave it on NVIDIA for a quick second. But, oh, my OpenDoor chart's kind of jacked. It's weird. My black charts are usually the reliable ones. I've had it open longer, but there's OpenDoor. Like, there's the dip. It went into the volume-weighted average price. Looking for it to break into the 850 range. That's all. I haven't moved the stop or anything like that. I might be able to reload this at the 8.25 as well, and I don't even have a bid. Now I do. So NVIDIA, ooh, it's going to break this. The whole idea was to actually jump back in, scalp again into 191, but I'm still not going to take the breakout because the whole plan was to, in lieu of that, be long underneath into the break. So just, might have scalped out of it, but I would still look for a dip off of 191 instead. So open starting to go. I gotta watch out for Mara though. Like I'm just sitting in Mara from earlier, and it's starting to trend back up. Actually makes a little bit of sense. Maybe just trim some right now. Before this even gets to VWAP, my trailing stop is above VWAP, and I'm gonna trim some as the market is strong right now. Looks like we're headed higher. Unless your name is Alibaba, then you're having a good afternoon, let's put it that way. Although there's probably some sympathy moves, I just realized. Should have looked at JD.
Yeah, you were looking at that this morning.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Why didn't I go to JD? Because I thought JD was a good short regardless, and now you have this news. Oh yeah, it's underneath that 52-week, this is a 52-week low. You just confirmed that for myself. Yeah, it's not just a random bottom. 52-week low is about 29.5. It blew through that on the news, lower high, and now you can short it underneath 29.50. Okay, I'm going to throw this one up because Beyond Meat's not really moving. I'm not doing anything with this Beyond Meat. Just for any, you'll see it in the position board, but the idea being if my trailing stop was here anyways, I was short once, out, short there at about 115, and so I just shorted it again at 10 because my trailing stop is if it breaks this little consolidation anyways. the kind of attitude. I'm not doing anything else. My bids have been out there for a while. If it falls, it falls. If it doesn't, it's not really that big of a deal. But I do think there's a room for something else, and that might be the sympathy in JD, because I can short it under big time technical resistance underneath 50s.
Yeah, so Sports and Stonks here in the chat asking, Obi, is ETH inverse head and shoulders on the 5-minute? Let's take a look. I'm looking at ETH here. I think this is, yeah, this is on the Coinbase exchange. On the 5-minute chart, when it comes to something like an ETH and Bitcoin, I think I'm not really looking at a shorter time frame than, let's say, about 15 to 30 minutes. But yeah, no, if you're looking at a 5-minute here, yeah, I don't know if this is what you're looking at. Strong volume coming in at the beginning of the day. You have a bit of a shoulder here. When it comes to head and shoulders, you can call it whatever you want. Let's break down what that actually means. Like, what does a head and shoulders mean? Let's kind of let's talk through that, because yeah, this is forming a little bit of a head and shoulders. How will it form? What does it actually mean? We can also talk about that as well, because just because something is forming some sort of a chart pattern doesn't mean it's going to do one thing or another. And I think who was it? Mark Douglas says this very well in one of his talks, where he's like, the market definitely has patterns that repeat over and over again and often, but the outcomes of those patterns are absolutely random.
Yes.
So you have to remember that. There's a lot more nuance required than just a chart pattern to kind of use it effectively. So, but let's go through this. So what does head and shoulders mean? Head and shoulders, basically, you have a bit of a move. It comes up into an area. If we're going up, then it comes up into an area of supply, and it kind of meets that supply and pulls back in maybe to an area that it accepts, and it attempts kind of attempts to push that. We break through that area that was kind of potential supply, maybe reach a little bit higher, maybe with distinction, maybe we capitulate, whatever. Sellers step right back in, and we pull back into prior structure, breaking that prior high as well. Bid steps right back in, and then it tests that same area. So now we've had a double, triple test of an area of short-term, long-term, whatever you want to call it, supply, and it's showing that price doesn't necessarily look like it wants to travel that way anymore. Now, it definitely can. Anything can change. It only takes one kind of participant. At the end of the day, if a buyer steps in and says, oh, I want to just buy, and that buying is a lot more than the selling, sure, the price can kind of continue all the way back up. If the selling is actually real and sellers step in, and sellers step in once again and break the bid, we could definitely go a little bit lower as well. But we can also kind of maintain this range. So price can go one of three ways, Neil. It can go up, down, or sideways. Right?
Sideways.
In a different range and a different magnitude. So those are all the iterations that can potentially happen. This is very vague in general, off of a head and shoulders pattern. So yeah, on a 5-minute, yeah, that's well within range. But I wouldn't weigh a 5-minute on ETH as heavily as I would, let's say, a multi-hour or multi-day or a multi-week, because this is an asset that trades 24 hours. Right? So that's my take on the 5-minute. I have no idea what this means. Sure, head and shoulders, yeah, we can find a lot of patterns when it comes to nice candles. So
I find if you have a bias already, like you have a general like higher time frame or fundamental directional play you like, then using a chart pattern to maybe time your entry point or figure an exit point, like that becomes really, really useful. But we got a super chat from David. It's 3 o'clock, well, about 3 o'clock, which is the perfect time for another one of Dave's dumb and silly trades, which I'm not sure it was already responded by someone. They don't think it's a dumb idea, and we love all the ideas out here. Loading up on cheaper put contracts on Relief Friday, see a red Monday in mail. My chats are never financial advice. Be careful, friends. Well, I'm not saying anyone should go out and do this either. Why am I getting a call? All right, don't recognize it. Decline.
Down in the DMs.
No, just who calls me in the afternoon? Trust me, if it was like family calling or something, I'd be like, oh, we take over. I need to get that phone right now. I'll finish that. Thank you, Eclectic Passions. Appreciate that. And also the fact that you made it 222, knowing that 22 is one of my favorite numbers. But the other side of that coin is I'm not feeling super rosy about this bounce either. Like I do think Monday is a bigger deal. If we show weakness again on Monday, I'd jump right back into looking aggressively short, simply because we have 1 day's worth of relief rally, and I think maybe the shorts have there's probably been some short covering off the highs. It's very logical to get this pullback. Like look at NVIDIA, consolidation off 200 to 250, 205, pull back into the 50 period. It's almost it's basically from from this break area to where support came in, that's like 10%. Nice symmetry there. It's a prior big level. That's an easy place to think that some short-term shorts are just getting out and taking profits. I think you're getting some of that. It's a Friday also, so obviously with options expiration, some management of positions more than what institutions want to do could be the story here. But also thank you for the kind words on that super chat. And the little things, the fact that you would, if you would put a super chat in there and put in a 22, or, you know, just because I happen to like Will Clark, and that was one of my favorite baseball players, I appreciate that. And knowing that's also where I bought Tesla, just because I love that number. I was going to buy the 220s. I'm like, well, I might as well put the bid at 220, 222. Thank you, Chris. You got CM Chipotle for dinner last night.
Nice.
It's working.
Okay.
That's
one way to do it.
What do you mean by, like, okay,
support the business, catch a bid?
Why, is Chipotle even up today? So buying Chipotle is going to move the stock up. Okay, well, see, here's the deal, Chris. You eat Chipotle today, and then every single person that has ever watched this show eats Chipotle tomorrow, and then the stock can actually get to somewhere that matters. Because that's how bad it's been for Chipotle. Not to bag on them, but we need to eat a whole lot of Chipotle if that's what's going to get this stock to go. But maybe it is putting a bit of a temporary bottom. I'm a little skeptical of that. But it's looking not that bad. You know why? Because it's got our, well, you should know why. You're the one that likes rounded bottoms there, Obi. There's the earnings gap down. There's the lower low. There's the higher low as well. And then you're rounding into a breakout next week of 32.26. Then you gap fill to here, and then you break that gap, and Bob's your uncle. The only problem is all that still has to happen. Let's go to Adair.
Let's take a look here at ALKT. This one is making a pretty big pop here at the start of Power Hour. It's Alchemy Technologies is the name of the company. Reuters reporting that Jana Partners, which is an activist investor, built a stake in this company during Q3 25. So again, we're hearing reports of an activist stake being built in ALKT. This stock pushing higher as we send you back to Neil and Obi.
I got to finish this thought because Obi's like calling me out on this one. But I did finish by saying those things have to happen. It's not a rounded bottom yet, but you break 32.25 on Monday, right? Then on Tuesday, you get to 34, and then you've got a rounded bottom for the break and the gap fill. It's just the other parts have to happen. So we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves. I think we're getting ahead of ourselves with Chipotle, but hey, sometimes getting ahead of yourself is a good thing. So NVIDIA, I did reload in front of the prior high for, as Obi would say, inventory into the break of 191. It still has not broken 191. So I've already scalped some out. I'm going to get right back on the bid. Let's go high 50s instead of 60s this time. And this time I'm just really giving it to, this is when the tape changed. And then the prior bar here is now at the 40. So really tight stopping here. These are all like scalp trades. Tight stop each time going into this 121 break. NVIDIA's going, the market's going, the ES is close to the highs, the Nasdaq is close to the highs. Almost there, everybody. Almost there. Almost certainly going to close green today.
Unless, something happens in the next 58 minutes. I'm not jinxing it. I'm just saying you're telling me that there's a 0% probability? There's a 0% chance? Come on, man. You gotta be open to the probability.
Yes, Obi.
There's definitely, anything can happen.
It's non-zero.
The VIX is above, well, let's take a look at where the VIX is, right?
2174. No,
it's pulling back because we've been.
Oh, under 20.
Like,
right, yeah.
Look at the range we've been kind of forming here. I got to get that out of the way. Look at the range we've been forming here, right? We've already kind of started to curl up. I remember in October, I was just like, hey, look, it's winding up again. We started to get some pops, some pushes through 17s, 18s. And I was like, all right, maybe this was done. This was done. We got that push into 22s at the beginning of November. But yeah, we've come in for another leg here. So yeah, volatility once again pushed up to 23s this morning and catching a little bit of a reversion here. We talk about, I remember when earlier we were talking about how reversions are very symmetrical, but don't forget the highest probability reversions happen on volatility, not necessarily on stock price. Right? There's almost a higher probability percent chance that volatility will revert a lot more than price. So that's just just a little bit of a tidbit. And I know those of you who write and sell options kind of understand that concept pretty.
Where's the more
pretty
you
well
know
as
button?
well.
I don't have that.
But yeah, volatility back down to 19s. But I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on this because yeah, this is starting to look like a bit of a wind up. Maybe we are in for some more aggressive pushes, but I don't know. We could also just slam right back down and just grind, and we have a nice grinding market to the upside as well. Bigger picture, we are in a very strong uptrend looking at the higher time frame charts. What's up, Adara?
Yeah, just let you guys know, so we're doing some things here at X at TTV Research. I want to start with our weekly calendar for next week, which just got posted. Now, I do mention on the post, if you check it out on X, that we are likely to get some economic data coming at different times throughout the week. We're just not sure yet. Well, literally like a minute after I posted this, we have an update from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the BLS, saying that the U.S. unemployment situation report for September is going to be released on November 20th. So we'll get some jobs data on Thursday morning at 8:30 a.m. I'm going to add a post in that thread letting you guys know about that. But again, we are going to be getting some jobs data reportedly, or according to the BLS here, on Thursday morning. I also want to let you guys know we actually have a rare earnings report after the bell today. So I'll be in the market recap show. Join that, myself and Steve Talman at 4 p.m. Eastern. And quantum computing, QUBT, they're dropping earnings. So this should be a pretty good one. This is one that I know gets a lot of retail attention. A lot of our traders like to watch. So if you're like, hey, what are they going to report? 4:05 p.m. Join myself, Steve Talman, on that market recap show. Like, subscribe, back to you.
That's right. And QUBT is already, well, first of all, it was Rigetti as well. Like the entire group, D-Wave, they went ham this morning. And then declining wedge after that. But still, you got 25 million volume, all above, most of it above VWAP. I mean, below VWAP for very, very brief periods of time. That's an incredible amount of strength in what has been a pretty deep unwind this week for this and all the other stocks. So there's a lot at stake here because it's what the money does with any of the quantum names. It doesn't matter what they report. Like, does anybody care what, did anybody care what Rigetti's revenues were? 1.7 or 1.9 million. Like it was like a $10 billion market cap. Completely irrelevant what the number is. It's really what does the big money do in reacting to it? Like what are the growth? What are the comments that are being said? Because those things are so frothy that they defy any kind of normal logic. Okay, so I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but the price action is telling me that every single time we press into 191, each one of these peaks is just a tiny bit lower. And then the dips, where the buyers come in, so my stop's underneath here, which is like 40s, the bids are coming in lower as well. So when it dipped into 40 the first time, buyers were great at 70, then they were good at 60, then I saw buyers in the 50 range, and now it's heading lower. So I don't like this as much. I'm not gonna reload it again. I will just get out. And if it just ends up being a little scalp off the top, the better trade was in here, everybody. Like when it was accelerating into the long, trying to get that 191 break, not necessarily this consolidation. So I will give a little bit back of this little afternoon jaunt that we've had in NVIDIA. There's my out. There's my stop. I tell you guys where it is. There it just broke. So I think we had a nice little mini run in NVIDIA there, but just no big time follow through. But that's the advantage of sort of taking the long this way when it accelerates into the high of the day, as opposed to like if you took the break of the high of the day here, like you're in here. Like, yeah, maybe you could have somehow made that work to make money, but I don't think you could have. If you took the high of the day break, you lost. But if you took the inventory into the high of the day, as Obi would say, then you're a little bit better. So I like that play. But it has to set it up and see how it kind of set up to work into the long, just a little bit better at that point. I got to worry about OpenDoor as well because, you know, it's not really going crazy and it's going into this little supply zone. Never got the ad. I might just take this one off here. You get what you can get and you won't be upset. It's 308. I want to look for another opportunity. I thought I was going to get JD and never really got the fill for that short. I'm just going to try to jump out of this one, see if I can't find a little something better in power hour because I don't want us to sell off. I feel like Obi jinxed it. Blame Obi.
What do you mean?
Blame Obi.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying within like the bid kind of dissipated. Here's the thing: is this not like a potential reversion setup here? We're making a lower high.
Of course it is.
We've given up the aggressive bid. All we did for a majority of the day was straight up bid.
No, you're right. It is. we're breaking a bit of the trend.
I understand, like, you know, people say down is bad, up is good. I understand that, but at the end of the day, if you're taking trades intraday, you don't care. It doesn't matter. Things go up, things go down. You want things to move. That's the bigger part of it, right? You want things to move. Make sure you're getting involved in stuff that's kind of moving around, or maybe your playbook doesn't involve that. Maybe you're getting involved in stuff that's you know, not really moving around as well, but we have that we have that as well. So I don't know. I'm just saying when it comes to something that's intraday and kind of in play with relative volume, you want to see some movements as well. So I don't know. Spider's pulling back a little bit. So
the SPY is definitely pulling back. If we go down, save man, woman, peace. If we go down, you can expect a major sell.
We're above that 25,000. Think about that 25,000. Bit of a magnet, yes or no?
Oh yeah, let's look at the chart.
Where are we relative to that 25,000? Is that not around VWAP as well? So if we kind of balance out going into the end of the day,
it doesn't
well within range.
And I say that as someone, I just dropped out of the longs, and there was enough price action to tell me to drop out of the longs, at least for now. But we're also not falling all over ourselves. Remember, it's a Friday afternoon. Like the other side of that coin is if you think about like most Friday afternoons, what's the most likely thing a lot of the time? Is that we don't do much of anything. Like that's the reason, I think that's the reason for more of a scalp style trade. I was just looking at Wolf because someone typed it in the chat and I was like, is this moving? It's not. I thought maybe there might be something there. I was just looking for a better opportunity. But like it might be just a little scalp fest trading. And if you can't find like these types of scalp setups and we don't have a real distinct trade, then I'm just not going to do anything, and maybe we can answer some questions. Get off my boat. Do you know when the new US PDT rule takes effect? I don't. I feel like, shoot, I might have to look that one up. I feel like I remember hearing a date, but off the top of my head, I can't remember. And I don't know if Adara's listening to me. I will just, Adara, do you know what the date is for the new PDT rule to take effect, if there is one?
I never knew it, so I don't know it now. My memory is good, but unfortunately not for stuff that I just never knew the answer to, truthfully. That
might mean there isn't that might actually mean there isn't a date. So I could be wrong, and maybe there isn't a set date for it. And to be honest, like, here's the thing. Like, I'll throw it to Adara because I know she has like a perfect memory. So therefore, if we had reported it at some point that this is the date that the revised new rule, she would know. So there might not be a firm date. I'll see if I can find it for you.
I'm asking GPT right now.
If you're asking a finance-related question, I would ask Perplexity over ChatGPT.
You know what?
Perplexity has been much more reliable when it comes to that. But there might not be an official date. I think that might.
No, there might not be. It's still thinking. It's still spending time thinking. What's happening?
How long has Brendan been behind us?
How's that desk, Brendan? It's good.
Oh, that's too good. Seriously, how long was he behind us there? Like, was he standing there for the last 10 minutes? Like a long time?
Oh, man.
I legit had no clue. Oh, goodness. What up, Brendan? That desk is awesome. I was there. They're just fixing the cameras, trying to figure out angles and that stuff. So you want to have somebody sitting there while you do it. I was doing it during the midday as well. So Fabian's kind of doing whatever it is that you do to get the shot right, and you got to have someone in the seat to be able to do it.
There is no official start date.
There isn't official.
There is no official start date. So that's what it is. The framework is approved, but they're still waiting on SEC approval. So the 25K PDT rule is still in force today. So
I'll give you an answer for that. I'm willing to bet anybody, within reason, that you will for sure get that rule changed before we see 23.5 in the markets. Before the markets go effectively 24 hours, you will have that rule changed. Because to me, it's all leading into that. So I think that's at some point next year, but I'm pretty sure they'll revise that rule before that change happens. And it should be spicy. You know, we don't talk about that enough, like what the effect is going to be. And it's an unknown with the 23.5. But here's what experience has taught me over 20 years. It's a lot of the market changes that people say, well, this is going to be bad for this, it'll be bad for that. They almost always end up opportunities if you're open-minded and willing to adjust the things that you do to what the new change in the market is. So like when it was, what's going on here? Now we're just showing the shot. Please check the video source. Yes, check it because it's not on us right now. That's the new desk.
Yeah, that's a new. That's a good desk. I like it. I think they've done a great job on that.
That's all good. So what's happening now? Now the market's rolling over. See?
This Baba is still consolidating at its lows, man.
Look what you did, Obi. Look what you
I didn't do anything.
Look what you did.
Didn't do anything.
Look what you did.
I said there are possibilities.
Perfectly bold.
I said there are known unknowns, is what I said.
Known unknowns. It's not the known unknowns. The known knowns and known unknowns that they'll both get you.
Yes.
You know where that's from?
Yeah. I forget the guy's name, but it's like it's just a funny.
You need to watch the Boondocks at some point.
Okay.
They redo that scene
Really?
with a couple of characters, and the Boondocks is genius.
Yeah. Was it Cheney said that, right? I think, or was it? I don't remember.
I'm gonna send you the clip on the Boondocks. No, not Mike Peter Ryder, not Boondock Saints. The Boondocks is a cartoon by Aaron Magruder. Let's just say it's absolutely hilarious.
Sorry, it was Rumsfeld.
Yeah, Rumsfeld.
Yeah, Rumsfeld.
Are you familiar with that one rapper? He's like this new guy. He's like 16, 17, who looks like so much like one of the characters from Boondocks. His name is Baby Chief Do It. He looks like, I haven't even seen the show, but I looked it up because people kept talking about this, and now he's just owned it. But yeah, pretty funny stuff.
Baby Chief what? Kind of a dumbass name. Oh, the camera was on. What kind of a name is that? He looks exactly like the kid from Boondocks. That's straight up. I don't know if this is what's his name? Baby Chief. That's such
Baby Chief Do It.
I can't even. Whatever. He looks just like the kid from the Boondocks. Riley Boondocks. Here, you guys are like, what the heck is the Boondocks and why is Neil on this one? Yeah, you know what? Maybe he doesn't look as much like Riley as I thought. Here. I can't. This is Riley. Whatever, I'll leave it on this. That's Riley, that's this guy. There's probably a better way of doing it. But if you've never seen the Boondocks, it's a really good show. It's absolutely hilarious. I have no idea if Baby Chief Do It is any good as a rapper. I have a strong suggestion. Even if he's good, I probably am not into it. But Baby Chief Do It. That's a very interesting name.
No idea who that is. No idea.
Nobody.
Lower high is now both on the Nasdaq and the ES.
Yeah, because you manifested the short.
I didn't manifest anything.
Literally manifested the short.
Manifest anything.
You really
manifest some success here. That's all.
I like that.
Yeah, of course.
I like where you're going with that.
But yeah, Softy got out of that one, break a trend on that one. So I think if someone was asking me in the chat earlier what the stop on Softy was, the stop was break of trend. I got involved with the trend here going into that high day. High day broke. We kind of false broke it. Sellers step right back in at the same area where we did in the morning, well, in the midday session, around 12:12 here. Sellers step in around 5:11s, and it seems like more of the same happening here with an attempt a little bit higher. Still involved with this BABA as it kind of consolidates, holding that 152 really, really well. Just kind of came in and tested 52.01s just a couple of minutes ago, catching a bit of a bid once again, consolidating pretty tightly now, going into the final 45 minutes of the day here. So not too many 15-minute candles left, Neil, in the day to be printing. But let's see what Tesla is printing here as well, because that I had eyes on much earlier. Tesla, let's take a quick look. Tesla consolidating, still holding strong, man. Okay, all right. So holding strong above that 400. We were looking at this consolidation earlier when we were doing the rundown. 405s still held an attempt at 410s, but still couldn't get to that 412-day high from this morning. So sideways consolidation, market's doing a little bit of the same, still holding this kind of leg pullback here, still within the range of that. Going to be interesting going into the last 40 minutes of the day, whether or not, which way we break that consolidation. Yeah, I might have said we could go up or down, but lower highs, 25 magnet, I don't know. I'm just trying to think as best as I can in probabilities. Whether I'm right or wrong, I have no idea. We'll let the kind of market show us. That's all I really
That's all you can do. And the shorts are definitely, there's no question.
Is that little Bow Wow?
What do you mean, is that little? Okay, Obi, we're going to have a problem. No, we were literally talking about beef cake. Oh, okay.
Come on.
What's his name again? Shoot. I can't even get the name right. I literally can't even say. I'm staring at it. I still messed up Baby Chief Do It's name. Apologies to Baby Chief Do It, who was apparently somewhat successful as yeah, whatever. From Chicago.
Okay, nice.
I like Chicago. It's a fun town.
Yeah.
I legitimately do like Chicago, but this market's rolling over. I can't find anything I'm in love with for a short yet. I was looking at AMD, maybe that's kind of like a no right now. I looked over at Bitcoin, which is holding back to, whoops, that's Blue Ocean, back to holding above 95, so we're at 95.4. On Bitcoin, I looked at iBit and didn't necessarily like that anywhere but the volume weighted average price. Harpreet Singh saying, look at Netflix for a short. Oh, too late.
Here we go, 152 breakdown.
Finally?
I mean, it broke. It's not really going so far.
Okay. Yeah, well, Netflix, that's the thing. I want something which is making the break now. Because I was looking for longs this afternoon, and then Obi was like, oh, jinx the market. I don't necessarily love that. Oh, by the way, that's right. The split on Netflix on Monday, when you come in, don't freak out. Netflix obviously is doing the split. Yeah. So they will be
It didn't automatically drop hundreds of dollars. Was it 10 to 1?
I find it's always okay on things like Netflix, but when some random, some stock that people like Lucid, that when Lucid did a reverse split, people were freaking out. Like, because
remember when the brokers made a mistake?
It wasn't even guaranteed. Oh, that's the worst. That was the
because they were they became net short, and then it squeezed even higher because they had to cover their position. So that was an epic moment as well. I forget what stocks those were, but focused on this BABA right now. 152 still kind of holding. We did break below. What's the low here as of right now? 151.84s. Is it going to be clean? Probably not. Market tailwind definitely a little bit on our side as we pull back into that 2,500, and then the ES as well. Lower highs here, kind of consolidating, not really going anywhere. I think the only thing I'm looking for is that it's not really bidding, and we get that tailwind for this BABA and some of these other names as well. Microsoft was kind of a bit of a litmus for me as well, testing that push, testing that bid higher, and that didn't really come in. So I was like, all right, cool. I'm more than willing to kind of pay for this piece of information here. And things are pulling back into their VWAP. Apple back into its VWAP. Amazon was consolidating underneath its VWAP, and that's taking a little bit of a trek lower as of right now. There goes Softy all the way down.
Remember that trend I showed you the afternoon?
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's
we were talking.
Let's go.
Obi and I were talking about this at like 8 o'clock this morning before we even came on air, where you have you'll get this breakout and there'll be a very slight, almost all-day trend that ends up forming. And look, part of the reason I can see that is because I was in this silly thing when it held the trend line. And then I saw it hold the trend line again, but we're going to break that trend line here. So this might be an opportunity for the last trade of the day. We'll see on Tesla, for myself anyways. So there's a break of this trend. I'm just going from 11 o'clock. We dipped into this level at 11, and dipped into it again, dipped into it again. That's 3 points. Then we get the break. So we'll see what happens. Evan Bolin, I'd actually have to listen to it for this. We want your reaction to Baby Chief Dolt's, No, that's not even his name. Baby Chief Do It's Went West song. I didn't even finish saying the name of the song, and Adair was like, "It's so good."
I was listening to it this morning. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. On the way to work, it's a banger.
It's a banger.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm not really up to date.
I'm obviously a lot older than Adara, so my reaction to what's the song called again? Is going to be way different, I'm guessing. Went West. Baby.
Is this the equivalent to, I mean, who was a very, I guess, young artist when I was, I guess, much younger as well? I don't remember. Maybe Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne was young.
He dresses like Riley, too. That's the crazy
who?
thing. He dresses like the character from the Boondocks.
From who? Ratatouille?
No, from the Boondocks. He actually dresses like it.
Okay.
Here, I had to skip this.
152's big.
All right, I'm listening to it.
Choppy here, 152. All right, okay. We're getting Neil's reaction live right here. Okay, 152 halves. Unimpressed. He seems very unimpressed. Okay.
I'm waiting for the beat to drop.
We're anticipating the beat drop right now.
I'm very open-minded here.
I see you, Neil.
I'm very open-minded, okay?
Okay, that's a bit of a bid.
Okay, I have a fundamental problem that the guy's style, obviously he's trying to do a little bit He's a little rapid, obviously. The song is Went West by Baby Chief Do It. And like if you want to see a better fast flow, like Busta Rhymes, Fushnikins, like I can't. I'm trying. The beat's actually nice. It's a nice beat. The beat is legit.
He produced the beat. That's why it's called Went West, because he's doing his Kanye West thing. He produces a lot of his own beats.
He does his own beats? Okay, because he can't rap. So I'm glad that he does his own beats. No, what? I'm just saying.
Yes.
Straight up. I'm glad.
Thank you.
No, but it's a really good beat. That's really good. And what he should do is make a lot of money giving that beat to people that can rap. There's there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not trying to bag him.
That's sick. I love that.
He's like 17 years old, and that's a really good beat, and you can do really well with that. I just don't think he's a very good rapper.
You know
I'm also old, and who cares what the heck I think? Seriously. He's just not that good, man.
Unpopular opinion. There's a lot of music.
He's not that good.
I think that these days where it's just like it's very popular because the beat is absolutely fire. The producers are absolutely
the beat is great.
The beat is just straight banging, but like the stuff that's being like produced on top of the beat is I would say relatively mediocre, but. You know, it is what it is.
That's always been true.
Yeah,
that is.
roughly.
Look, that's been true for a while.
But,
like back in my day, you know who this is. But did anybody think Bubba Sparks was all that great?
Right.
No, but I was in the club going nuts to his songs because the beat was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Probably sucked.
Yeah.
Probably. And I'm sure if I went back and listened to that, I would literally probably be like, I liked this back then. So it's all the same stuff. Anyways, so now that I've gone short Tesla. Can you manifest more of this? You want to manifest more?
What's still in that range? We'll see. How much time is left in?
It's almost 3:30. Okay. So this is more. This like no matter what happens, this is probably like the last trade. This is like the last like salvo on this trend break, and it's not even like a.
My only thing is like.
So I'm going to zoom the other way. We're not even closing under the trend line. Like it's not even that great because we haven't closed and consolidated under the trend line, which is disappointing, for sure. Oh, see, look at that. Someone actually, John in the chat knows Bubba Sparks.
Okay, yeah.
That's what's up. You don't know. You do not know Bubba.
Of course I know who Bubba Sparks is.
No, you don't. What's his big song?
I don't remember what the song is, but like Bubba,
exactly.
You know what?
Exactly.
I'm trying to remember Bubba Sparks. But no, it is, you know what, we can talk about this after.
Okay, first of all.
But like Bubba Sparks, I for sure know who Bubba Sparks.
If you're going to tell me you know
one song, he's only known for this one song.
It's about to get ugly up in here if you're going to tell me you don't know what a song is.
22-inch. Rims on a Bentley.
You see the problem with us? I literally just said the name of the song, and you still didn't get it. That's the problem, Obi.
Isn't that the song? Or no?
Ugly.
Wait, what?
Exactly. You don't know Bubba Sparks.
Okay, fine.
You don't know Bubba Sparks.
Wait, no, that's a different song. Anyways, what was I talking about? Okay, so the market pulling back in here. I think that Microsoft definitely was a little bit telling, like I said before here, and Alibaba just consolidating tighter and tighter. Here, you guys are so jokes on the chat.
First of all, Data Robinson, you know, Obi, look, it's just all fun. This is what we do, man. Come on. It's all fun with Obi.
Having a good time.
It's always having a good time. Oh, I forgot that song, Miss New Booty. Miss New Booty was the other one. See?
Yes, I definitely, they had like that whistle in the background. Yeah. Okay, yeah, of course. Yeah. No. See, I'm really horrible with like remembering names of things, but if I'll remember like sounds and visuals. I'm a very like, I don't know, I have that kind of a bit of a recollection. I don't know. I'm really horrible with remembering names. Even with like faces, I'm really good with faces. I don't know what it is.
I stink with names.
Pattern recognition.
I stink with names. Vin City wants to know how old I am. How about this? No. I'll give you a really big hint. Here's a huge hint. My favorite group was Blackstreet. So that should tell you more or less how old I am. You should almost be able to guess the year. And I know who New Edition is. I listen to a group called Guy. My favorite rapper is Rakim. You should be able to get an idea.
You know who A Million Styles is?
I have absolutely no idea who that is.
There you go.
Oh, Sports and Stocks, I do know Troop. I had that album. So you should really know how old I am.
I'm pretty sure that's an artist from your time.
Yeah? Well, I'm not going to know everybody. Man, it's 3:30. when you manifest the short, you should manifest it in Tesla because
25 is that number.
yeah, but the
in
Nasdaq is still falling here.
Coming in there.
Now we have closed, but there hasn't been a solid like really bar close underneath on Tesla here at all. Like it's still kind of not really working. So I should tighten the stop. There's not that much time left anyways. Where is it? Yeah, I should tighten this up. I should just give it to this bar. It's not really going anywhere. I'm not going to give it more than $1. But the Nasdaq is still coming in here. Thought we'd get a little bit more on Tesla, but Tesla just feels like it's too strong. So I'm not giving this a lot of room. I even need to think about the exit here for Mara because even when I got out, it then flushed back into the lows. And when I say the lows, this was the bottom this morning. I know because we were short into it, and it couldn't break away from that low. So I'm going to put a trail in here to about 12.18, cancel my JD stop because I never got into position, and throw the trail on Mara. This was the one thing that more or less gave you like good shorts all day long. Not much else did, but Mara did, mostly because of what Bitcoin was doing, I think anyways.
I think Bitcoin was definitely one to watch today. And that reminds me, I got to go check what Coinbase is doing because I did look at it in the morning and I was like, this is going to be the vehicle I choose to kind of trade. And it caught a bit off of the open. So I was kind of like, okay, this is in step with the market, not really weak like Bitcoin. But Bitcoin probably has been doing some things as well here. Yeah, a bit of a bid coming in at 9:30 and then pulling back in, nice little reversion of the whole move there. So the lows that we're looking at, the local lows here, 94,455, 98 on BTC USD. That's on the Coinbase exchange here. So yeah, pulling back a little bit. And funny enough, this was kind of mentioned in the pod earlier today, Neil. It was just like, it seems like Bitcoin might be leading the market moves at certain given times.
I'd agree.
And I was just like, you know, the meme where was it Captain Phillips, where it's just like, look at me, I am the captain now. That might be BTC in certain moments here in this market. And I'm realizing that a little bit more and more. And yeah, pointed out by certain pod members earlier this morning. So interesting phenomenon, I guess, something to observe.
I do like that. Alan Carpo, I put in the chat what my age was. So just scroll up. Anybody. I don't care. It's not a big deal. But some people might still be guessing. But I did throw it in there. You guys made some really, really good guesses on it. So Tesla's still doing the same thing before. Sergio, what if Netflix buys WBD after the split? Is that going to bump the stock value of Netflix if they buy Warner Brothers? I don't even know if it would. I mean, obviously it'd be great for Warner Brothers. They need it. I don't know that it's ever that simple. Like anytime you have a merger, it's a little tricky because the terms in the structure can often determine how well or how poorly the acquirer does, regardless of any synergies. Like I've seen some deals where I'm like, well, that's great for the acquiring company, but then they make an all stock deal, or it's a really expensive cash deal, and you know, they maybe have to utilize debt because they don't have good cash flow, something along those lines, and then the stock gets beaten up for 2 or 3 days. But really, it was good synergies, and long term, it's a good deal for them. So it wouldn't be that easy, and I have no idea whether they would make a deal or not. We're just all speculating here, but like I couldn't say that's good for Netflix or bad on the stock. It really always depends on the structure, what they pay. Like Pfizer spent a boat on what was that stock today? What was it called again? CD something?
You mean Merck and Sedera?
Merck and Sedera, yeah. CDTX.
CDRX. Or maybe
CDTX. Yeah, like it was like 90% premium they paid for these, $9.2 billion. My gut, when I saw that this morning, was I don't care what they're getting. I wasn't sure the stock was going to go up to. I was like, oh, this might be a good dip buy on Merck if they sell them off for that deal. And then Merck was just trending up all day. Like I was expecting the other way, punish them for a couple of days, buy the dip, but this one was treated well, despite the fact that it was a big acquisition. So it's past 3:30. Not much on the early look for the imbalances. We got BlackBerry there for 1.9 million to sell. Not much else here. On, that's not bad. 1.2 million to the buy. AMCR million. Walmart's in there, pretty small. BMNR we've seen a couple times here. It was like 1.2 million the other day, but now 900,000 to the buy side. However, on BMNR, I can't imagine it's having Bitcoin's. ETH was doing better than Bitcoin. Not bad. It's bouncing a little bit, but ETH was bouncing more. So yeah, it's doing worse than Bitcoin. Oh, I really wanted that ETH to go. Like the thing about this trade, the thing I love about those, you see how I wasn't scalping this trade out? The reason for that is when I see IBIT doing this, and then you're on a ledge over there in ETH, like you just sit in it, build as it consolidates, and then if it drops, you're not even trying to get out in here. It's just like let it drop and then just bid it all there. So essentially, like you can sit there risking like 10, 15 cents, but you're taking it almost all out for like 30, 40, 50 cents. Like you're not even scalping that. It's just like ledge drop, the catch-up trade pulls you back into here. But you know, it didn't work. It is what it is. David, we got another one. Another super chat here. Can you throw it up, Andre? Watched McGregor Mayweather fight. Get no way. You watched the fight with Teddy Riley? Okay, so anyways, I just told you guys my favorite R&B group was Blackstreet. Teddy Riley is he's the original from that group. He started the group. He wrote all the music. He's one of the best producers of my era. He's the guy responsible for, like, you know how R&B melded with hip hop, and you had stuff like Bill Biv DeVoe and SWV, and like it was like from like the late 90s, early late 90s, and into the 2000s. He basically invented that. He was the guy that invented that style. He's also the dude that took over for Quincy Jones when Michael Jackson kind of stopped having Quincy as producer. That was Teddy Riley. You don't remember the time? Remember the time by Michael Jackson? That's Teddy Riley. Yeah, like Bobby Brown, Teddy Riley. SWV, like Teddy Riley. New Jack Swing was the name of the style. Shout out to, I believe it's Katan in the chat. That's really, really cool. Incredible performance. But anyways, the guy was legend. Quincy was legend. The short on Tesla is not legendary because we can't seem to manifest it going down. It's just not moving.
That's what I said. It can just drop in range.
And that's exactly what's happening. Chop.
The lower high. How many 15-minute candles are left, right? There's only two 50-minute candles left.
That's
now.
the problem with these
And like now I'm just like, okay, well, like, are we going to rip all the way to the highs? Yeah, sure, we can do that. Are we going to break these lows? Yeah, that's well within range as well. Could we also close in and around just here? Yeah, for sure. I think that's well within range. So it's just no real direction as of right now. Just consolidating at the highs. Bitcoin's a little bit more interesting to me, kind of coming into these lows as well. So yeah, nothing crazy going into the close. The only thing I'm really watching closely here is BABA. Maybe a little bit of Apple as it kind of reverts, pulling back into its VWAP here. A bit of a miss on my part when it comes to reversions there. But yeah, you know, you miss reversions every now and then. It is what it is. So.
I saw someone in the chat. I'm sorry, I did not catch the name. Who said draw a trend line on Robinhood. It was happening really fast, and the chat moves fast. I didn't really catch it, but here's the 15-minute. It's pretty simple. Like the way I look at it, there was no trend line that was very clean with 3 points on the 3-minute outside of when this broke trend. I think like this is the kind of this idea where this would never have worked, but I probably would have taken it if I liked the short on Robinhood. I would have been in this and would have done nothing for me. Maybe even stopped out right there and then worked. But I would then go to the higher time frame, pull up to 15-minute, and then when you look at the 15-minute, let me just get rid of that line. Cool feature in P Pro here that we have at Real Trading is if I draw a trend line on my 15, it'll transfer if I have a 3-minute up, if I have a 15-minute up, so you can utilize them in whatever time frame. There's your first dip. There's a support after the first dip at the open. Then it takes all this time to really do any kind of a meaningful pullback. There's your second point. It's kind of a B because you really only have a couple of points here. So it's not really that good of a trend line break, but that's the only place that I could even draw it. Then I can go back to my 3-minute and say, well, does this even set up? And you could make an argument that you could sit in a consolidative short, and if it breaks that, there's your out, there's your target is VWAP. It's not terribly unlike this Tesla short. Kind of the same thing. But that's kind of the process that I would go through, drawing the trend line. Oh, give me a break. Just go to 22 already. That's what happens. Everyone knows I like 22. All right, I did get 22s. I did get the 22s. Let's go to Adara, apparently.
Keep an eye here in PZZA. Papa John's Pizza moving around here, seeing a report suggesting that Irenic, which is an activist investor, has built a stake in Papa John's, according to Reuters. Again, Reuters reporting that Irenic is apparently building an activist stake in PZZA. We know this one has been the subject of some takeover attempts, or at least reported takeover attempts in recent weeks and months. Back to you.
I really hope a deal happens, because this has already been deal speculation rug once, right? Like this deal speculation rug when they pull out. And so you get another one, deal speculation. I'd be really careful with this, because it seemed like this was going to be something that actually ended up, I think it was like a $65 offer that the board was not warm to, and eventually it got pulled. And you can see what happened to the stock. It's now back at the 40s, so you really hope something comes of it. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if a bid comes into this underneath 65 and the board accepts it, if I own the shares, there'd be a class action for sure. That's all I'd say. And I'm sure there would be if that happens. But I don't see anything crazy. And of course, the second it gets to 405 support, what does Tesla do? Instant bounce. Instant bounce when it gets to $405. Why? Because it's Friday and it's every $5 that's going to catch a bid. So being short at 406.50 on a Friday when there's support at 5 means you might not get more than that. This would have been much, much better for anybody that was smart enough to short it here when this broke at 409. Or Alpha saying Katana is the real deal.
Yeah, I think that you can see this second last 15-minute candle is finally showing itself here. It was kind of consolidating for the initial part of that 15 minutes. With only about 4 minutes left, so the last 5 minutes it starts to catch a bit of a sell here. I'm looking at SanDisk as well. That pulled into VWAP. I'm just kind of looking around at some of the names that I had on watch this morning, and some of the moves I may or may not have missed, some of the trades that kind of carried forward, and maybe potentially looking for anything to take in the last 20 minutes here, or something that might be setting up interestingly for the close. But yeah, SanDisk, nice little reversion, not the cleanest, not the best, but happened nonetheless. Back down into VWAP, 257.80s on that, coming in really nicely. And the market tailwind definitely helps. This consolidation low, or not really consolidation, but pullback low on the Nasdaq here. That's what I'm watching. That's just shy of, let's try to get a little specific here, 2590s, 92, so 25,092s there, roughly in and around that area, just shy of that 25,100 mark is that prior low. With one more bar left after this one, and only 3 minutes for this one to finish printing, I'm curious to know, do we trek a little bit lower? Is the reversion kind of on? And here is the alarm for get ready, Obi. Imbalances are on the horizon.
You know what else happened?
What's up?
The ES went red. And we all know whose fault that is. There is the ES. Just went red. The Nasdaq very, very close to following through, and has pointed out that ETH move that I wanted to have to the downside. That actually did happen when we're not in it. So the market is starting to come back in here. It just never felt like, where's the Nasdaq chart? Like when you look at it, did it really feel like, does this feel that great? Like didn't we see this? We've seen this movie before. We've seen this movie before. Like all we've done is rinse and repeat the end of last week. It's still a lower high. So we're not out of the woods, everybody. Rinse and repeat last week. Remains to be seen if we end up holding on to the support. Seems like that 25,000, we could get a retest of that. Overall, I'm going to go back to the imbalances very quickly because I just saw this one pop up. SOXL is now a buy imbalance for what it's worth. 1.8 million to the buy side. That was not there before. I don't even know what that is. What is cold?
Cold?
AmeriCold. It's a realty trust. It doesn't matter. On is still there as a buy of 1.2 million. Really not much on the locator, but SOXL was sort of a noticeable, kind of weird as we roll over that you have semi index as a buy imbalance. I wouldn't read too much into that, to be honest with you. A lot of times, like anytime you see an ETF that has an imbalance, I haven't really seen it move things very often. It can, but usually has to be a really large imbalance to move it. It could be anything. at that buy imbalance. It could easily just be someone with a big jam short cover. It's options expiration as well. So there's a lot that could be going on with that. For now, the market seems like it's going to battle at least a bit with this red-green. The ES is kind of ticking back and forth. The Nasdaq is barely holding on to said green. Like, these are the cues. Like, you're battling. Like, you're trying to hold green like we did before. Like, went red, tick green, kind of the same thing happening here in the cues. Late buying, trying to save the day.
Yeah, I think this just, again, eyes on this BABA as well. Ion Q's turning, about to break structure. Circle's about to, it came all the way back down to its lows from before as well. Let's take a quick look at that one. CRCL definitely taking multiple round trips on the day today, just kind of washing this range, 85s to 82s, back down below 82s, currently trading 81.95s here. IONQ, this is the structure that I'm talking about. We've kind of been consolidating, pulling back off of day's highs for about 3 hours, maybe potentially catching a bid for a little bit more, now pulling back in. So consolidating at the highs, I like that bit of strength showing up on a Friday after multiple days of selling this week. You can see here, Monday pretty aggressive, sideways consolidation on Tuesday. So leg, consolidation, leg, and nice continuation as well. Bit of relief into the end of the week for Quantum. So that's a good look there. What else did I have on watch? I guess CoreWeave. CoreWeave, you can see here that that one's been kind of selling off as well. Pretty aggressively, multi-day trend, caught a bid off of the open, but back into VWAP, so consolidating sideways on the day today is CoreWeave. What have you guys been looking at? I'm curious to know. Let me know in the chat. NVIDIA, yes, of course, NVIDIA. I know we're watching that a lot of the time as well. NVIDIA's been pretty strong on the day today, made some fresh highs. So yeah, we got up to that 191.01s are the highs right now that I'm seeing, but still consolidating, very strong, higher highs and higher lows on this tech leader on the day today. So yeah, good look there. Yeah, throw it up in the chat. Rivian, yeah, we know Rivian was another one from this week. Some strong interest in that one. Did that catch a bit of a bid, but over the past couple of days, selling. Yeah, so coming into the beginning of the week, and even some of the end of last week, we closed at the high of this range. Last Wednesday was that aggressive bid. We consolidated, price accepted around $15. Price acceptance was nice. We broke out of the range, pushed all the way up to 18s, now pulled right back back down into that $15 area on Rivian. So interesting start off to the week. Bit of a balance coming into the end of the week on some of these names.
And we have a low of the day on Bitcoin. Back underneath 95,000, so you didn't have to manifest too hard to get this one to be a short, unfortunately. Yeah, unfortunately not looking very good at the end of the session. You have to keep in mind something with Bitcoin. Just because Michael Saylor says it's going back up doesn't mean it will. We are, like, did we come all this way not to at least retest the low 90s? And if this breaks, do we not think it's very reasonable to see the low 70s here, like 73 to 77? That'd be the target range. If we lose this right here, and there's a couple of things that happen if we lose 91. Not only do you lose the trend from this 2023, like look at the trend line. Shout out to a few viewers who are like, hey, Neil, you should draw the trend line on Bitcoin. I didn't put too much effort into it. You get the idea. But if we lose this 91, I think we're in some trouble, at least in the short term. And you could be really, really quickly into that low 70s. But that's the place I'm looking to buy it. Anyways, in the personal account. Yeah, Sebastian, the other thing too is that apparently that's around his price, right? Like Michael Saylor, I think their average long is in that low 70s range. I don't know at what point he becomes a forced seller. You guys can tell me that.
I mean, we'll definitely see it.
No, well, by the time you see it, it's too late.
By the time you see it, it's too late. So the question becomes, do you position for that or do you not? I don't know. But I think that when it does happen, it'll definitely be very, very obvious. You just got to have alerts on. I think that's a big thing. And if you want to participate, you got to have orders in as well, maybe limit orders. You know, some of the aggressiveness on Bitcoin. You know, when it comes in really hard and heavy, and within a very short time frame. right? It definitely, we talk about taking the elevator down. I think Bitcoin sometimes just takes the jetpack straight into the ground. So
the jetpack into the ground.
Yeah, so sometimes you just have to watch out for that. But if you have orders and you're sitting there, I think that it becomes a little bit easier to participate in some of those things. But yeah,
before we go to Adair, we have 1 minute till the imbalances came out. The bounce off 404. I'll get out before the imbalances come in here. Hold on to Mark because I have a really tight trailing stop. But let's go to Adair, and then we'll see what the imbalances have for us.
Keep an eye here on USAR, which is on my screen right now, and MP Materials. Energy Department announcing that they have a $355 million here that they're going to be using to expand production of critical minerals and materials. So $355 million domestic production expansion here for critical minerals from the DOE. And balance time, back to you.
Yeah, about 20 seconds till the imbalances come out here. Still a decent sized buy on the SOXL, BB 1.5 to the sell side. On might be significant with that 1.3 as well. So look, we'll see what happens here. I have no prediction. The market's essentially, like the ES is already at VWAP and the NQ is pretty close. So to me, I was just getting out. And we'll see ETHA, 2 million to the sell side. We've got NVIDIA's a buy of 1.7, Rivian's a sell of 1.7 million. Those are the ones that stand out, not really seeing anything else that's big. Yeah, I'll have to scroll down a bit here. Yeah, nothing too crazy, really. I think they use Cisco's in there, 1 million to the buy side. Nothing crazy there at all. Walmart's in there, but that's pretty small for them. Yeah, I guess NVIDIA, that's really tiny for NVIDIA. Rivian, that's not that bad, 1.7 million to the sell side. Don't know if that's going to move the needle either. But yeah, it looks like the market's still slowly sliding down here. I mean, Tesla kind of caught a bit here at 404, but it's not really moving.
Yeah, you were in NY. You were looking at that BB earlier on. I think that's still there a little bit. But yeah, nothing too crazy I'm seeing here going into the end of the day. So we did kind of revisit that lower end of the range here on both the Nasdaq and yes, pulling into the last 10 of the day. So hopefully you guys have had a solid week here. Yeah, a little bit of selling, but hopefully we maybe took some profits or took some pieces off of that selling as well. For those of you who are intraday trading, there goes a little bit of Microsoft pulling back in. So that false break of the day high, nice little follow through coming in here with some of these imbalances. Not really seeing Microsoft anywhere at the highs there, but we still have NVIDIA with about a 1.6 million buy here. We got some other names. ETH, CAN, Rivian is up there as well with a 1.7. So we can take a quick look at that one here as well. Let's take Rivian. Okay, so I already had that open here. So you can see $15, $15.11 still the lows. Still couldn't break that low even off of those imbalances here on Rivian. NVIDIA with the buy. Let's see what that's doing. That its highs. All right, so a little bit of a bid back above 190, but nothing too crazy, man. You can see the market just kind of consolidating within that range, even through these levels here. Brian Hart saying, I jinxed the 25K level. Hey, man. Market for the Nasdaq is still not closed. The market on the Nasdaq closes when at like 8 p.m. right? So I think we're still good on that.
Trust me, if Obi had the power, it's all jokes aside, but if Obi had that power, we wouldn't be sitting here. We'd have like a hedge fund somewhere warm. I'm thinking the Caribbean, probably the island of Antigua, chilling out. That's what we'd be doing if we had that power.
Absolutely not. I would try to be as close to New Jersey as possible in trade.
You wouldn't need to, but you wouldn't need to if you were literally in a war.
Or not.
What would be the point? That's overkill. You don't need it.
What if I like participating in markets?
Fair enough. Jersey, you don't want to be in Jersey. Trust me, you'd rather be in. There's nothing wrong with Jersey. Shout out to Jeff Mandel. I know he lives out there from OTC.
More selling on Softy.
No, this market is. I don't think we're going to hold. Maybe we do. I mean, I might just get out of this. Mara's not moving. Give me the mid. Not going to get the mid. Fill me. I'm going to get that. I'll get the fill. Fill me. There we go. I'm out of Mara. Just going to move on over to show you guys what's happening on the Nasdaq. Because, like I said, there is a battle which is really being waged over something as petty as whether we close red or green. but the buyers are actually coming in every single time we tick underneath flat on the cues. Like, it pretty cleanly, like bottoming tail, we're putting another bottoming tail. Actually, there's a decent chance we could actually do this. Only about a minute and then 3:55. Sometimes you'll get some of the imbalances that will flip, and then we'll run you into the close.
All right, guys, for too long, trading meant risking your own money or never having enough to start. The fear of losing, that's what kept so many traders on the sidelines. But that's changing. Trade the Pool is transforming how traders access the markets. With its limited risk trading model, traders use funded capital while Trade the Pool absorbs the downside. This allows traders to focus on what truly matters. That's discipline, consistency, and growth. When you hit the profit target, you keep 70% of the profits. No fear, no barriers, just real opportunity. This is the revolution of limited risk trading powered by Trade the Pool. Visit tradethepool.com or scan the QR code now to get 10% off your first evaluation. Right, so that Baba keeps on chopping around. I'm getting chopped up on this. I've definitely spent a little bit more risk than I should be, but I was a little maybe anticipating that breakdown coming in with the rest of the market. I was like, okay, I think the market has a decent probability of coming back down into these lows, and maybe if Baba falls in step, that 152 level hold held bid-ish area, maybe that gives up, but guess what? That's not really happening. That's chopping around right now and getting a little bit hairy there. So I'm kind of done with that. Where's the next trade? Might not be there for me today, but hopefully you guys have had a solid week as well. Like I was saying before, bit of a bid coming into the end, and I think a lot of people were talking about Blue Ocean, which brokers. I think there are some brokers that'll let you access the overnight markets as well. Sure. More and more brokers are getting access to it. It's becoming very apparent because when I'm sitting down at night in front of my computer, I'm noticing more and more average volume being traded on some of these names. So it's just it's a result of more and more market access by participants.
Well, it's inevitable.
Yeah, it's very inevitable.
We're going to 23/5 trading. So as that happens, more and more brokers are going to start onboarding the books that give you access to the overnight market. The volume is going to grow there. You'll get to the point where they're not even needed because it's just going to be the regular market open forever. So let's, look, this is going to be the kind of change next year that I think there'll be a lot of opportunities. However, traders are going to have to make adjustments, I think, to the time periods they trade, maybe the duration. If you're a swing trader, when's the optimal time to enter your swings? A lot of that's going to have to be hashed out, which is going to create opportunity in the market. At least that's my opinion. Thank you. We got another super chat here. I wanted to be able to throw it up there so you can see your name in there, but it hasn't popped up yet. Oh, it's not working. Okay, here we go. I'll just show it on screen. Thank you very much for the super chat. Prarthna Rolls. Appreciate you. Thank you. Look, we thank all of our viewers in here, but not even a comment in this, which hit the like, right? They're dangerous. Oh, you were just trying to make us laugh. Sometimes sometimes I'll answer, like if always I'll answer something in the chat thinking everything's like literal. So it's hard for me to tell when you guys are just joking around. I really hope we don't continue this dump, but NVIDIA actually kind of battling back here. But the thing that's really getting me about this move is simply how, here, let me actually show this chart again. This is the one I'm getting at. Like, this is exactly more or less what we did on Thursday and Friday of last week. Like, we dumped this level on Thursday to then bounce the same bottom on Friday last week, and then we kind of hold up here, then dump the same thing yesterday to rebound it, and then end on another lower high. Like, nothing about this move is suggesting to me out of the waters for the downside. None of it. Like, we just did the same thing 2 weeks in a row to the sell side, and a lot of it was heavy selling, and we're going to end up lower than we were pretty much lower than we were at the close last week, and certainly lower than last week's range, which still feels like we're going a little further. Matt M says 3 p.m. on is net selling. That's very bearish. Institutional net dumping. I completely agree with you there. Doesn't mean the market's going to be down on Monday morning. It's not. We'll get another one there. Can you advise on DFLI earnings today? They report today. Dragonfly reports.
Rare that something
on
reports
Friday. Well, they're a penny stock, so. Maybe, yeah. You know for a while, there's absolutely zero. I have no idea if they report today, first of all. I would defer to Adara on that. It's only 1 minute to go. I'm not even sure we have time to ask. It's a penny stock, so I'm completely unfamiliar with them. The most important things to know for these guys, can they drop an offering so that if the stock goes up, you don't get caught chasing it? Because this type of a setup where you're downward trending into like a potential $1 break is a pretty popular breakout strategy. But if they can drop an offering on you, it makes the litmus of how long you hold it very different. I used to trade penny stocks back in the day. That was actually when I started trading. I've said this before, but if you're a new viewer, when I started as a prop trader over 20 years ago, the very first check I ever got was trading penny stocks. And a few of the checks after that as well. Exclusively trading penny stocks as a day trader for a pretty significant time before I moved on to other things. So it gets, the whole like dollar breakout is an old one. And it's one I like. You just always have to, if you're swinging it or doing it more than the first day or two, you have to be really, really careful about these offerings when they drop them. If it happens intraday, there's not much you can do, but you can protect yourself overnight if you're a swing trader by just not being involved overnight. But that's just my 2 cents. Got to drop the countdown. It's the end of the week. It's the final bell of the week, of course. And what has been a bit of a relief rally day, sort of, kind of, still a chance for the Nasdaq to close green. As a matter of fact, in 3, 2, and 1. Look at that, Obi. Look at that, Obi. You couldn't quite, you jinxed the ES. You might have been able to jinx the SPY, but you couldn't quite jinx the Nasdaq, which closed at 0.01, I believe, to the upside.
True.
So pretty close to flat, considering where we were to start the morning. Not bad. But I'm also, given the way the market ended today, sometimes you care more about how things end than when they start. I think it's ended pretty bearish as well. I think there'll be good trading opportunities and volatility next week. I just can't promise it's going to be that super strong. Mike H in the chat says Monday will be great. I hope so too. I'm just not convinced about it. And Yatube, beyond meat, the price matches the taste. Terrible. That is.
That's a good one.
How have I
really
not
like
thought
that.
of that?
Yeah. That's a good one.
See, oh, and it was a great short again at 115. Why didn't I reshort this? It was like 330. Look at that. You could have reshorted the same price in the morning. Anyway, that doesn't really matter. This is probably a short on Monday too, everybody. Why? Because it's beyond meat. But you know what? Market recap with a lot to recap with Adara in just a bit, but I got to give a big shout out. Thank you, Obi, for filling in for Sean. I'm sure Gia scored her hat trick, but the tournament would have just started this weekend in North York. That's where Sean was supporting his daughter, who's a hockey savant. So I'm sure she did score a bunch of goals. We'll find out about it on Monday when he gets back. But thank you for filling in. Your market recap show with Adara, Steve Tomlin, special guest, starts right about now. Have a good weekend.
Take care, guys.
Hi, guys. Thank you so much for being here with us in the market recap. Don't go anywhere. We have post-market earnings, which if you guys know this market, it's kind of a rarity for a Friday, so lots of excitement. And we'll get Steve Talman of Trade the Pool. He'll join us fairly shortly. But first, I have 2 pieces of information, some housekeeping, if you will. For one, Google just casually announced right at the close they're going to be investing $40 billion in new data centers in Texas. So a big $40 billion U.S. data center investment here announced by GOOGL. Certainly keep an eye on that one. And then my second point of housekeeping, guys, my post-market earnings name that we have to keep an eye on. That is QUBT. Quantum Computing Inc., or QCI as it's sometimes referred to, though that is not its ticker. This company is reporting earnings after the bell. The revenue estimate, a cool $100,000. We're expecting losses of 5 cents per share. Now, last quarter, they had a massive year-over-year decline in revenue from $183,000 to $61,000, though they actually did have an improvement there in their gross margin. So keep an eye on QUBT. I think that's certainly going to be something to watch today. Now, let's talk a little bit, as Neil said, lots to recap, that's for sure. Let's just talk a little bit about the volatility that we had this week and potentially why. Well, the U.S. government shutdown came to a close. It was 43 days long, the longest in U.S. government history. And as you can see, continuing the pattern of green market moves, specifically for the S&P 500, during these government shutdowns. Now, U.S. President Donald Trump actually has the 2 best performances here by a decent margin for the market during the shutdown, and his were also the 2 longest. So it seems like the longer the government shut down, the more this market likes it. But then, of course, we have to come back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. And yesterday, the market certainly got some gravity, that is for sure, as we digested the fact that we might not get all of this economic data. However, we're certainly going to get some employment data. That's going to be coming, guys. on Thursday morning, 8:30 a.m., according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, or BLS, which releases this data. So we get some employment data. We're getting some Google data center investments. We're going to get quantum computing earnings. It's a great day, guys. So how about you guys drop in the chat, say hi, say how your trading day was, what was your favorite ticker you traded, maybe your least favorite ticker. And if you have any questions for myself or Steve Talman, put those in there now. And I'm going to say hi to you guys in the chat so that you know who I am. I am at Adara LePage, ADARALEPAGE. Tag me with some news-related questions, market-related questions. Tag me also if you have any questions to ask our good friend Steve Heilman. So again, we're waiting here on QUBT. I'm going to have that up on my Benzinga. So once I see that, I can certainly keep you guys posted. But in the meantime, I want to talk about the Fed. And you guys may be like, Adara, you're always yapping about the Fed. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that. I am. I talk about them fairly frequently because I do think it's important to get to know how each Fed member thinks. So that when you hear speeches from them, you know which is par for the course and what's a little bit irregular. And so that's what brings me to, I think, what was pretty interesting here, comments from Fed Schmidt and Fed's Logan, who are ironically actually neighbors on my little infographic. We've got Fed Schmidt, we have Fed's Logan. Now, Fed's Logan is interesting here because she was actually at one point in the running to be the next Fed chair. I'm not sure where she currently stands on that list. We know the two Kevins, Kevin Warsh and Kevin Hassett, are currently and have been for quite a while the front runners here. But either way, Fed's Logan and Fed Schmidt made comments today, roughly like, we'll say 4 to 5 hours apart, and these comments were almost identical. We actually have quantum computing earnings, so I'll pause my Fed speech to talk about these quantum computing earnings. Q3 here for QUBT, and I'll put up these estimates so you guys can see them. Q3 for QUBT coming in here, revenue of roughly 384,000. Okay, so that is well above on a year-over-year basis, $384,000 in revenue with a 33% gross margin versus last year, this quarter, $101,000 in revenue with a staggeringly low 9% gross margin. So big year-over-year revenue increase and big increase here with their gross margin. Operating expenses here, $10.5 million. That's going to be, though, a little bit larger compared to last year's operating expenses of $5.4 million. I'm just literally reading off the report. Net income this quarter, guys. Oh my gosh, so exciting. Net income, $2.4 million versus net loss this time last year, $5.7 million. Not a bad look here for QUBT, but enough of me. Let's take a look at the QUBT chart because we trade, and that's what we're here to do. Nice push up here, as you can expect with QUBT. Solid report here for quantum computing. So great look there for the company and for CEO Yuping Huang. I'm guessing not related to NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang, but interesting look. Cindy Ismail asking why RH was down today. I will certainly take a look for you for Restoration Hardware. I don't have any news though, so unfortunately I can't answer that question. But we're gonna take a look here. I'm gonna pull up these Feds. You guys can digest these Feds. Well, I digest some water and tea, guys. It is Hydration Nation, so take a sip of that water. Oh, and tea. We actually even have more comments from a Fed right now. Fed's Bostic saying it's an incredibly challenging environment to be doing policy. Good thing he's on the Federal Reserve, which is what they do. Okay, take those beverages, guys. Cheers. Okay, and now water. That was the tea. We're going to do the water now. And we're going to talk more Fed speech. So when I was so rudely interrupted by QUBT earnings, no, I'm joking, all good there. But Fed Schmidt and Fed's Logan, right? So they talked about 4 hours apart. Fed Schmidt goes first, and he's talking a lot here about some issues with regards to inflation, saying that he does not believe a lot of these inflation issues are tariff related, which is a stark contrast from a lot of the talk we're getting from other Fed members. And he also said that, sure, we're having some cooling in the labor market, but generally it's in balance. Now, what's interesting is Fed's Logan says the same thing almost to the letter in the afternoon, to the point where I was seeing these remarks and I'm like, wait, this is Fed's Logan, right? It's not Fed Schmidt being repeated. No, it was Fed's Logan. She was just saying almost the exact same thing. Now, we know Fed Schmidt voted against that rate cut in October. He wanted to hold rates. Fed's Logan said that she kind of wishes in retrospect that she had voted to hold rates, that she now thinks maybe that would have been the right decision. Furthermore, she has been the closest of all of the Fed members we've had to out and out saying she's not considering a December cut. She didn't say it in so many words, but she's been a lot more point blank about it than even some of these other hawkish Fed members. I'm looking at you, Fed's Hammock. You've been really hawkish lately. But even Fed's Logan got a little bit closer to saying, hey, I might not vote. And now Fed's Bostic coming out and saying, quote, we'll see what happens with the next Fed decision. So we're going to take a look at that CME Fed Watch tool because, guys, there was a time a shout out to that song, where we were actually really close to not like 90 to 100% of participants expecting we're going to get that 25 basis point cut. Now officially, 54% of participants saying we're going to get rates held. And it makes sense. Again, we're seeing more and more Fed speakers saying that they don't want to cut rates, and yet one of the few that is actually saying like, hey, I'm pretty dovish, let's cut rates. It's really only Fed's Myron, and the more that we have these hawkish speakers, the more I think, I don't want to say outcast, but the more unique his opinion seems to be. Now, Google ripping, people mentioning, I gave you guys this news right from the jump, right to start the recap, but I will repeat it. OGL basically coming out and saying right at the close, they're going to be investing $40 billion in new data centers in Texas. So, yeah, that news happened earlier, and I will repeat it again, guys, in case you missed it. Google saying, hey, Texas data centers, here's a cool $40 billion for new ones. So a nice look there. Thank you guys for the kind comments about my voice. I don't know, I like singing. I was in High School Musicals. Unfortunately not High School Musical, but you know, musicals put on in high school. So guys, give me some questions for me. Tag me in the chat. Give me some questions for Steve. Tag me in the chat. I want to know what you guys want to look at today, and we'll do a little bit more market recap here, because I mean, that's what the show's called, right? We're going to talk here about NVIDIA and BABA and China, but after we have a sip of tea. So I've said this, and apparently we're getting ready here, so I'm, okay, no worries. Yeah, we got this. We're going to chill for a little bit. We're in about 5 minutes, we're going to bring in Steve Talman, but I do want to do a little bit more market recapping first, and I want to give you guys more time to put your questions in the chat for myself and Steve. I haven't seen that many questions, so I want to know what you guys want to see from him. Now I'm starting to see some questions. Okay, nice, let's go. I want to talk about NVDA though. So actually, question here, Go Bill saying, will NVIDIA be above $200 before earnings? You know, we don't predict, right? But I will say here with regards to NVDA, we do still have these China concerns. And what's interesting too is Amazon reportedly and Microsoft confirmed coming out and saying that, hey, they'll support this GAIN Act, which could be a bit of an issue because they're basically saying that these chip companies sending chips to China and to other countries should prioritize these US companies' orders first. Now, in a way, this kind of does make it hard for these US companies, which do a lot of times, or at least they used to rely on China orders. Now, I say used to because, of course, China's had some issues as well with regards to, you know, these export controls. The U.S. doesn't want to send chips to China, and so China's now just going to be doing their own chips, right? And they have no reason to really work with the U.S. So I continue to say I think this is a catch-22, and that this isolation between the countries is going to continue. And unfortunately, China's likely to strengthen their AI, as Jensen Huang said, if we continue to shut the U.S. out and put them into that position. So we're going to have to wait and see. You know, to quote Dirty Dancing, no one puts baby in a corner. I think at this point, these two countries are putting each other in a corner, and I'm not quite sure how that's going to end. Let's mention here, too, there's a question in the chat from Dangerous I do want to bring up. Any further thoughts on the data we're going to be getting now the government's open? What's my approach or caution, bullish or bearish? I don't like, you guys know I'm kind of boring in this way. I don't want to make like huge sweeping assumptions. I'll just put up the cues here. My thing is, I think that the fact that the data we're getting is so retrograde, like we're going to be getting September's data well into November. We're going to be getting that employment data on Thursday, right? So I think it's so hard. We know repeatedly Fed's Byron has said, hey, I don't want to use backward-looking data. So in a way, you might be like, well, if these Feds aren't really going to be paying attention to this data, should we? Now, on the other hand, I've said this repeatedly, I think the biggest piece of data with regards to rates that we could potentially get is going to be this data with regards to jobs, because we know we've had a lot of Feds arguing over, should this employment data be the reason we cut rates? Now, Fed's Logan said, I think that was a great argument in September. I don't think that's a great argument anymore. And again, we mentioned Fed Schmidt saying, hey, like, sure, the labor market's cooling a bit, but it's in balance. And then Fed's Myron coming out today saying, hey, we shouldn't wait for it to get too cold. We should wait for it to be lukewarm. I'm paraphrasing, obviously. But the point, you get the point I'm trying to make. I think these Feds are going to continue to be divided. Like, we've had 2 straight situations back to, or I guess now 3 straight meetings back to back to back, where we've had at least 1 dissenting vote. And in 2 of those cases, 2 dissenting votes. So I think this divided Fed is going to make it a little bit harder as well to figure out where policy is going to go. And thank you all for, you know, listening to me yap about the Fed. So good times. Fed's Bostic finishing his Q&A session. So I think this is our last time here with regards to Fed's Bostic. I saw some mentions of Google in the chat. Berkshire also buying 17.8 million shares of Google. So 2 pieces of good news for Google after the bell. Data center. and Berkshire Hathaway scooping up 17.8 million shares of the stock. Hi guys, that was a fun little zoom in. So yeah, Roger Noonan here asking about Netflix. Welcome mine and the guest thoughts here on the impact of the split on the stock. Will it become more of a day trader's vehicle? So I'm going to be honest here. I like spready tickers, so I had a lot of fun with Netflix when it was, you know, this glorious over $1,000 stock. But what I've noticed here too with some of these stocks that have splits, specifically Chipotle, MSTR, they still kind of retain their spreadiness. And in the case of CMG especially, sometimes they actually struggle post-split. So obviously, you know, no two spready stocks, or sorry, no two post-split stocks are alike. NVIDIA obviously lost its pre-split spread and, you know, made new all-time highs several times. CMG, though, hasn't done that, right? So there's certainly, I think, a discrepancy. I don't want to cast them all with the same brush or however you want to put it. So we're going to have to wait and see. But you know what we're not going to have to wait and see for? Our friend Steve Tileman at Trade the Pool, because I am ready to bring on Steve. I unfortunately don't have the button, so I can't do the trader talk. But again, guys, keep dropping those questions in the chat, because I want to know what you guys have to say here for Steve Tileman. And yeah, I'm ready to, if we're ready to bring him in, we are ready to bring him in. I'm going to be dropping as well here some of these Warren Buffett 13F filings in the chat when we have time. Thank you so much for being here with us, Steve. How are you doing this Friday afternoon? Been a wild week for the markets.
Hey, thanks, Adara. Yeah, no, I'm doing great. It's been a wild Friday. I think you can agree.
Yeah, it's been a pretty wild one. I want to know, what were you trading today or this week in general? Are there any particular themes especially that you had your eyes on?
You know, I was pretty boring today. I was just sticking to the indices. The last couple days of price action got me stopped out of multiple swings, and I had a lot of cash, and I was sitting tight, just waiting to see how things shook out and see if we could hold that last Friday's low. And so, yeah, on the chart here, this was the level, the key zone that I was watching, and this has been a super key zone for a long time for me, and we reacted to it very, very well here last time. So the first tap here, I was very excited to see, and I actually was short out of the gate. So I took 2 trades today. I was short immediately out of the gate because I thought that we needed to test this blue zone, and I saw this nice low here. So I took a quick short, and then I caught a little bit of a long here, but not nearly as much as I'd like to have. But really, when the indices move this much and you have this much volatility, for me, that's all I need to trade.
Yeah, the volatility certainly is exciting. And I think, you know, as traders, being able to work with that is a huge thing, and certainly something I'm working on. I'm sure a lot of people in this chat as well. So thank you for bringing that up. I do want to bring up a name that we actually just had a couple pieces of news on right after the close, Google. GOOGL, this one, we've got a big Warren Buffett buy. We also have their data center investment in Texas. Are you searching for any particular levels here on GOOGL right now?
I'm pulling up my charts right now. So this is one of those situations where when a runner keeps running, it's really hard to predict where they're going to stop. So I have some rough projections of just Fibonacci extensions that I'm kind of watching, but really I'm mostly focused on the moving averages here. So this nice cloud between the 20 and the 10, as long as this holds, I'm in the trade. I have not quite taken my first trim because I really want to take it at 300. So for me, 300 is the big psychological level. On top of that, we have a 2.61 extension at 313. So keep an eye out for those two, I'd say.
Yeah, thank you for going over that one for us, because I think that's certainly a stock that's obviously on watch and going to continue to be, especially with this awesome, fun post-market Friday action. Now, Steve, I've got a lot of questions here. People want to know your thoughts on rare earths in the chat. So I'm going to ask, what are your thoughts on rare earths, or any tickers you're watching in this right now, or any that you'd avoid?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a couple that are of interest to me right now. First off, we can start with the sector overall, REMX, and this is looking really constructive and healthy. To me, when I look at this, I just see a flag and a break and a curl of the moving averages. If we look up here, we see a nice extension on the daily oscillator. That's always a good sign. We also see nice consolidation of volume, and we're going to keep an eye for volume pops over the 20-day moving average to make sure that this peak above is real. So overall, my views on the sector are that they're constructive. Whenever you have a parabolic move, it feels like the end of the world when they finally find sellers. And, you know, to be fair, if you bought up here, you're down 20% on an index. So that feels bad. If you're in USAR or something, you're down 50%. But overall, big moves up need big pullbacks, and it's still holding the 50-day. And that is kind of the line in the sand level to watch for these runaway names. Going into some individuals here, I'm watching USAR just because it is coming all the way back to the 200-day, and I always gotta watch for buyers there because the amount of times stocks will bottom here and never look back, very real. So I'm watching USAR and then UAMY as well. This one's looking like it's posting a nice double bottom right under our 50 fib here. So those are on the top of my list.
Yeah, thank you for going over those ones, because I think that USAR is certainly going to be one that's worth watching as well. I do want to mention, too, here, and I want to get your thoughts on NVIDIA. They're reporting next week. Should be a big one. Go Bills in the chat is asking, how are you trading this one heading into earnings? And I guess, yeah, are there any levels you like? Is this something that you're going to touch ahead of earnings, or are you going to wait maybe till after the...
You know, it's not on my focus list. I just don't love trading earnings. I usually wait until after earnings and see where things lie. There's often some shakeouts, and I just tend to like to wait for things to settle, often gap up, and then go into a post-earnings gap setup. That being said, NVIDIA looks really constructive here to me. Again, we have one of these blue zones for me, which is just a really core high-volume zone that's shown a lot of respect in the past. We saw it again today. That's always a good sign. We have not reclaimed our moving average cloud, but we have a nice downtrend line here. So if you're a gambler, you can get in early and expect to pop, a back test, and go. Otherwise, I would wait for the actual back test right here to get in long, and then you'd be targeting the gap up here and these dual highs. And considering earnings coming up, we'll probably see either 212 after hours or call it 165 maybe.
Yeah, that's a really interesting look there. Thank you for going over NVDA for us. I do want to address, guys, I know people in the chat are asking me about ASST. That report is... I'm still reading through the report. It's kind of confusingly worded, so I'm going to keep reading through that for you. I'll give you guys those numbers when I have them, but we know this one had that big pop and close a couple Fridays ago. Apparently, they raised $762.6 million through PIPE financing transactions. A lot of it's just them recapping things we already knew about the quarter within this report, just things they already announced. They did lose, though, 22 cents per diluted common share on a GAAP basis. Again, I'll keep reading through this, but a lot of this is just recapping things we already were aware of. Sorry, so we really quickly wanted to address that. I do want to address also, Steve, another name that we had that reported after the bell, QUBT. Quantum, is this something you're watching right now? I know Rigetti is a lot of people's plays for this, but QUBT, not a bad move here after the bell.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just looking at this right now, but I'm seeing a really nice strong catch and trying to flip momentum here. You can see on these 4-hour clouds, it's testing a reversal. On the daily here, it looks like it's dipping back right into our gap. So often these gaps on back tests will act as support, and you can see right there we got a nice retest. So I'd say if you're a bull, you're looking for some of these imbalances to fill up to the 20-day. In general, I stopped watching these because I missed the short. And I just took them off my screen for a little bit, but we can look to get involved when they start back testing some of these highs. I think QUBT might be ready to go because of earnings, but in general, I'm not quite ready to buy these. I was hoping for a 200-day tap on IonQ, didn't quite get that, but it is back in the zone. So I don't think these names are done. I think you have to pick your spot though, because they move so fast.
Yeah, some of these levels, especially like where Rigetti's coming into and stuff, they look really interesting. So thank you very much for making that point. I want to ask about a different sector. Crypto got hit pretty hard this week. BTC well back below that $1,000 level, at least at its lows. We had Circle earnings too, so I guess I kind of want to know, part one, do you have any thoughts on Circle here, given that IPO pop and drop? And then secondly, is there anything else you're looking at within this space?
Let's see. So first off with Circle, this is, it's a tough chart. I remember in the euphoria a month or so ago, there was some wild whale just slamming like max strike 320 calls that expire in December. He's probably not feeling so hot right now, but I think that this is an area where we can start to look for the signs of exhaustion. And so we have 3 really high days of volume, and this day, we did not make much downward progress. I was going through my lists today in the morning, just in the carnage. The Circle was green, so I didn't know what to make of that, but maybe it's a sign that we're close to that exhaustion. In terms of levels to watch, you can take your fib and make sure the levels are adjusted to log scale because it's such a wide range. And we can look for a reclaim of that 7-8 fib because that's the level that they often run to get bulls out and to stop them out. So I like that, and I also like that it's trading back into its IPO announcement block here. So a few reasons to start looking for a bottom, but don't expect a V shape on these. These names often take a long time to curl out, and it might be well into the next year before this is a buy. In terms of Bitcoin overall, it is tough. It is losing some key levels for sure. Excuse the messy chart here. In general, what I would say is that we are through the zone that I really would have liked to see hold, that 101 to 105 zone. Now we're playing a game of trying to call a bottom, and I am bad at that, and I think most people are bad at that. So I'd advise to stay away until things look a little more constructive. That's kind of where I'm at with the crypto scene right now.
Yeah, fair enough. I do want to ask here, we talked about Circle. If you don't mind, I want to ask about another fairly recent IPO that reported earnings this week. CoreWeave, we know this one is at the center of the AI circular revenue debacle, but regardless of any fundamental things, what are your thoughts here on this chart for CRWV?
So this is one of those narrative names that, man, depending on the price, people are so bullish or so bearish. I am a tourist in the space. I won't pretend to know very much about them in terms of their fundamentals. When they're up here, the fundamentals sound amazing from people when they talk about them on Twitter. Not so much when they're trading under 100. So I'm watching this potential flag structure form out, and I'm looking at the really high volume here. And I'm just saying, man, all I know is when you get really high volume expansion from the 50 fib like that, it means that it's not ready yet. So I'm watching. Maybe this is a swing low here, but I'd really like to see what it does down here. And I'd really like to see it retest the opening push high here. So this 65 handle seems like where it would be a good buy long term.
Yeah, I like that. That's an interesting level. That downtrend on the weekly, though, certainly eyebrow raising. That is for sure. Again, guys, let me know if you have any questions here for Steve Talman. I have kind of a random one that I thought of, but I think it might be kind of interesting. We've got these 13Fs coming out. Berkshire Hathaway. Obviously, this is kind of maybe more of a swing or a longer term play, but BRKB, this chart took a little bit of a hit starting in May. This is kind of a wild one, a little bit out there, but do you have any thoughts on how this BRKB chart is looking, especially given that we're going to get, CEO Warren Buffett officially leaving that position by the start of next year?
Oh, there's nothing wild about that. I scalp Berkshire all the time.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I like that.
So it's interesting. We are seeing relative strength, and the market is saying, no Buffett, no problem at this point. We are seeing a rotation into some of these defensive names, and some of those individual holdings that Berkshire has a large percentage in, they're looking pretty good. And this chart looking pretty good. We have a nice downtrend break. We are trying to get over these weekly clouds. This is a long-term trader, so I look at the weekly charts for the most part. I also note that there's a nice higher low crossover on my oscillator here. You love to see that. So these are all building a bullish bias here. The only thing that you got to watch out for is that we are still under the 200-day. I would expect this to test, this little breakdown gap to fill, and then we would kind of watch what price does, and I'll draw that little zone here. You can just draw it right on your, I'm sorry, wrong gap, this gap. Yeah, this gap right here. And when this area can flip, you can look for a long-term swing in your long-term ports. But honestly, when you're investing, this looks like a fine place to get involved. I like it.
Yeah, I love that you said you scalp Berkshire, because I trade this one intraday sometimes, so I am 100% always for trading these larger tickers. I have a question here in the chat from Go Bills, and it's less stock specific and more about your trading approach. Do you prefer the 50-day average or the 200-day?
Oh man, that's like picking my favorite child, although I have none. I love both of them so much, and I'll tell you why. So the 200 is a great, and Berkshire is a great example of this. The 200 is a great example of whether a long-term stock is bullish or bearish, or at least kind of that, we'll call it 6 months to a year time frame, that kind of swing. It's just incredibly responsive on these higher time frames because so many long-term institutions will trade on them. When a stock is under this, it's considered on sale, so to speak. And as long as it's over it, it's probably going to be in an uptrend long-term. So I love that. And even on the intraday charts, these 200 days, this purple line for me, it's really responsive to just track the same thing, the overall trend. So as long as we're over it, I'm bullish. And see here, we're deciding it undercuts, but when it reclaims, I'm pretty sure that this is kind of like a very trend change defining moving average on any time frame. So that's why I love the 200. And then the 50 is really important for names like any big momentum names. We can look at MP here. In the 50 is my blue moving average here. And you can just see that when there's big extensions, often the pullbacks are going to be big too, and they're going to cut through these short-term moving averages. There's just not enough momentum, or there's too much momentum to hold here. But these 50s, they're far enough away, they're trailing far enough that they often provide really nice entries to get involved with these names. So this 50 was the entry right here for me to get involved with MP because it was that level, but also because it had confluence with the previous important level. So no moving average is the absolute, but definitely keep these rules in mind when you're trading with each of them.
Yeah, it's really cool, and I like that you gave us an example there too as well. What's your top idea heading into next week, Steve?
Oh, that is tough. Oh, my top idea. Let me go through the top of my watch list here, putting me on the spot. There's a few. So I saw flow on CLF. This one is promising. It's trying to carve out a bottom here at a pretty key level that likes to be responded to. So I'm keeping an eye on this one just because of the sake of the flow plus the gaps overhead. Rocket, it's testing my patience, but I think it's back testing this nice wedge breakout. And if you look back on the weekly here, you'll see that we're trying to break out of a big cup and handle pattern. So there's the potential for a big move on this, but with the potential for a big move, you can also get one of those OSCR situations where it just fails on you when you're expecting something much different. So keep that in mind. The same type of chart for Rivian here. It's really appealing if it can turn it around next week, but otherwise back to the dungeon under 14 it goes. But this chart long-term I love. In terms of a little bit more short-term, just for the indices, I think that we have good potential to get a nice rebound this week. And what I'm looking for there is a finish of this W pattern that we're getting. We basically are double bottoming off a key zone plus off of a couple key zones, to be honest. And we have this nice double bottom W pattern where we should be targeting liquidity up here next. And the last thing is that we're just reclaiming this long-term channel too. So there's a lot of reasons to look long, look to buy the dip next week, as long as we keep getting liquidity draw up.
Well, thank you so much for going over that and being here with us, Steve. Where can the people find you for more about what you do?
Well, right after this, about 10 minutes after this, I'm going to be over at Trade the Pool's YouTube channel, and we are going to be going over a weekly recap of all of my best trades, a few ones that didn't go so well, and I think the highlight will be the Rivian play we made, where we did get a 10-bagger on that one. So we can talk about exactly how we got there, and also some really good trades we took today. So that's where you can find me, right over on Trade the Pool's YouTube channel. And also make sure that you tune into our stream live, because we're starting to stream all day with with a scanner on screen, and then on Power Hour you'll be able to see me. So tune in and definitely check out this Rivian recap today.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for being here with us, Steve. Congrats on that Rivian trade. And again, guys, check out that stream right after this. Thanks again, Steve Tileman. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Adara. You too.
Great. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much there for that transition. Guys, it is 4:31, so we're going to have to let you go. But I want to give a quick recap of what happened after the bell. We had QUBT earnings, DFLI earnings, ASST earnings, Google casually being reduced a little bit here by Bill Ackman, but starting a new position is Berkshire Hathaway, $4.3 billion worth of Google. Berkshire also sold just over $10 billion worth of Apple this quarter too. But now, guys, it's time to do this roll call. So put your names in the chat. And I'm going to thank everybody for being here. Thank you, Travman. Thank you, Andrew Chow, Dangerous. We've got Buster. We've got Saul G. High Vibrations. I want to see more names here in the chat. I want Dinkelberg, Go Bills, Andrew Chow again. Keep them coming, guys. I want to read all of them for you. I feel like I'm seeing the same couple people, and I'm very happy to see everybody here. Bohammer, Jesper, Derek Thompson, Carlos Briones, Evan Bolin, Donkey Trader, One Life to Live Together, David V. We've got Hinsey, Nerd Affiliated, William Knight, Ryan O'Day, Rich. We've got John Von Sowers, Baseball Card, Will, Troy Boy, James H, Ori, Cool Man, Toby Sheck, Shenanigans, Green Saber, Los Pollos Hermanos, Uncompromised One, and Ahmed and Death God. Thank you guys so much for being here with us every single day. But guess what? We're going to see you again on Monday. So make sure you tune in with us Monday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern, bright and early. And I also have a whole bunch of infographics that are scheduled to be released throughout the weekend. So you're not going to go without market content this weekend. Mark my words. Again, check it out here, X at TTV Research. And I'll see you guys on Monday, 8:30 a.m. right here on Trader TV Live. Have a good one.